Life can feel overwhelming when everything pulls your attention in different directions. Tasks pile up, goals feel distant, and days pass without real progress. The truth is, organization isn't about controlling every detail. It's about creating principles you can follow consistently to bring clarity, focus, and direction to your life. This audiobook is designed to guide you step by step through 10 principles that will completely change the way you live, think, and act. You'll learn how to build daily habits that support your goals, take responsibility for your choices, and develop mental strength that carries you through challenges. You'll discover ways to manage your time, focus on what matters most, and handle emotions without letting stress take control. You'll also find out how to stay disciplined when motivation fades. Practice gratitude and surround yourself with people who inspire your growth. Each chapter is practical and easy to follow. You'll get actionable steps that you can apply immediately in your own life, along with insights that help you see things differently and make better decisions every day. This is about real change, not theory. By committing to these principles, you can turn focus, discipline, and self-awareness into habits that last a lifetime. If you're ready to stop feeling stuck, start living with purpose, and create a life that feels organized and intentional, this audiobook will show you exactly how to do it. Stay with me and take the first step toward building a life you can rely on. Chapter 19 builds strong daily habits that shape your entire life. Every person who has ever transformed their life began with one quiet but powerful decision, the decision to build habits that create consistency. No matter how gifted or inspired a person might be, without structure, their energy eventually fades. True progress doesn't come from one burst of motivation, but from the habits that carry you when motivation disappears. It's not luck that organizes a life. It's not willpower alone. It's the habits you build every day, the ones that happen quietly when no one is watching, the ones that shape who you become without asking for attention. Building strong daily habits is the foundation of every lasting achievement. The world often celebrates outcomes, wealth, recognition, confidence, but few talk about the small invisible systems that produce those results. Habits are not just routines, they are the architecture of your life. Every habit you repeat is a vote for the kind of person you wish to become. Every time you act with purpose, you strengthen the identity of someone who follows through. Every time you drift aimlessly, you weaken it. The direction of your life is never determined by a single choice, it's the sum of your repeated patterns. When you wake up each morning, you are standing at the entrance of a new cycle. What you do in the first hour sets the tone for the rest of your day. If you begin with intention, structure, and clarity, you will move through your day with strength. If you begin with noise, distraction, and reaction, the day will carry you wherever it pleases. Habits are the invisible hands that shape your future, and the earlier you take control of them, the sooner you begin living by design rather than by default. The first step to building strong daily habits is understanding that your life is already organized by habits. You simply may not be aware of them. Every morning routine, every pattern of thought, every reaction to stress is a habit you've reinforced through repetition. Habits don't ask for permission. They just happen. If you want to organize your life, you must first become conscious of what you already repeat. Spend 1 week observing yourself. Notice what you do automatically, how you respond to messages, how often you check your phone, what you do when you feel tired or frustrated, how you spend your first hour after waking and your last hour before sleep. Awareness is the first step to mastery. Once you can see your habits clearly, the next step is to shape them intentionally. Choose one habit to improve at a time. Many people make the mistake of trying to change everything at once, filling their days with strict schedules that collapse within a week. Real transformation happens slowly but steadily. Begin with something so small it feels almost too easy to fail. Wake up 10 minutes earlier and spend those minutes reading, reflecting, or stretching. Drink a full glass of water as soon as you wake. Write down 3 priorities before starting your day. The goal is not to start with intensity but to build consistency. A single small habit done daily will outperform a grand plan abandoned after enthusiasm fades. Discipline grows when you respect the power of small beginnings. Every strong structure starts with a single brick laid well. Once a small habit becomes automatic, you can add another. Over time, these small actions compound, transforming your days from scattered to organized, from reactive to intentional. Habits don't just manage your time, they shape your mindset. A person who follows through on simple daily habits develops confidence in their ability to act. And confidence born from action is unshakable. To build lasting habits, connect them to identity rather than results. Don't aim only to exercise to lose weight or to read to appear knowledgeable. Aim to become the kind of person who values health and learning. When habits express who you want to be, they become self-sustaining. You no longer fight against yourself, you act in harmony with your identity. The question to ask is not, what do I want to achieve? But who do I want to become? Then shape your habits to match that vision. Imagine you wish to become someone who is calm, focused, and reliable. What daily actions would reflect that identity? Perhaps it means starting your mornings quietly, journaling before checking notifications, or spending 5 minutes in reflection before responding to challenges. Each time you follow through, you reinforce that identity. The goal is not perfection, it's alignment. If your habits align with your highest values, your life begins to feel ordered, even in uncertain times. Another truth about habits is that they thrive in simplicity. Complexity destroys consistency. The more steps you add to a new routine, the easier it becomes to abandon it. When you start small and clear, you remove friction. It's easier to build momentum when the path is smooth. For example, if you want to read more, place a book on your pillow so you see it before sleep. If you want to eat healthier, keep nutritious food visible and remove what tempts you. If you want to exercise regularly, prepare your clothes the night before. These are simple adjustments, but they shift behavior effortlessly. A major obstacle to building strong habits is the illusion of motivation. Many wait to feel ready before they begin, believing they must first feel inspired. But discipline does not depend on feelings, it depends on commitment. Motivation fluctuates, but habits endure. The strongest individuals are not those who always feel like doing the right thing, they are those who act regardless of emotion. When you act consistently, even on low-energy days, you train your mind to follow structure instead of mood. This gives you power over yourself. There will be days when you don't want to wake early, exercise, or study. Those are the days that define you. Each time you act despite resistance, you strengthen your self-control. Each time you avoid an excuse, you prove that your word to yourself means something. The true reward of strong habits is not the result they create, but the character they build. Every disciplined act adds weight to your inner foundation. Habits also help manage chaos. Life will always bring uncertainty, unexpected events, emotional turbulence, external noise, but strong habits act as anchors. They keep you grounded when things around you shift. For example, if you have a morning routine that centers you, journaling, exercising, or meditating, you begin each day from a stable place, no matter what follows. If you commit to evening reflection, you close each day with order instead of confusion. These rituals give you control over what can be controlled, teaching you peace through structure. Consistency does not mean rigidity. There will be moments when life interrupts your schedule, when you must adapt to circumstances. True discipline is not about perfection, it's about persistence. Missing one day does not destroy progress, giving up does. When you miss a habit, return to it immediately. Don't punish yourself. Simply continue. The key is to never miss twice. Forgive small failures, but never allow them to multiply. To keep habits alive, make them visible and measurable. Track your progress. Use a simple notebook or digital app to mark completed habits daily. This visual record strengthens motivation and creates accountability. Each mark on the page represents a promise kept. Over time, those marks form a map of progress, a reminder that growth is built one act at a time. You will also discover that the quality of your habits influences your energy and focus. The mind thrives on rhythm. When your days follow a pattern of order, your thoughts become clearer. You begin to think ahead rather than react. This mental clarity spreads to all areas: work, relationships, health. Organized habits create organized thoughts. A scattered routine breeds a scattered mind. To maintain balance, structure your day around a few key anchors. Begin with a morning habit that strengthens focus and ends with an evening habit that promotes reflection. For example, your morning might start with water, light movement, and a written plan for the day. Your evening might end with gratitude journaling and planning tomorrow's priorities. These two anchors create a sense of rhythm that holds your entire day together. Another principle of building strong daily habits is removing choice. Choice sounds like freedom, but too many choices create hesitation. When you decide in advance what you will do, you remove the mental friction of deciding each time. Decide once and act daily. For instance, choose a fixed time for your workout, set your wake-up schedule, plan your meals. When these decisions become automatic, your energy is preserved for more important things. Structure liberates focus. Habits are also strengthened by environment. You become what surrounds you. If your environment supports your habits, progress becomes effortless. If your environment conflicts with them, progress becomes a battle. Align your space with your goals. If you want to read more, fill your space with books. If you want to focus, keep your workspace clean. If you want to eat well, stock your kitchen accordingly. Change your surroundings to make good behavior easy and bad behavior difficult. Accountability can also accelerate habit formation. Share your goals with a trusted person who respects growth. This is not for validation but for reinforcement. When someone knows what you aim to do, you naturally act with more consistency. You can also use social accountability. Join a group, challenge, or community where others pursue similar goals. Human connection strengthens discipline. Strong daily habits shape not just productivity but character. They teach patience, humility, and persistence. When you commit to a small daily practice, you are training your spirit to endure. Every time you follow through, even in silence, you are proving that you can trust yourself. This self-trust becomes the foundation of confidence. You begin to see yourself as someone who does what they say they will do. That identity is unshakable. Many people underestimate how long it takes for habits to become natural. True transformation is slow but permanent. Don't rush. Focus on the direction, not the pace. Progress built slowly lasts longer because it becomes part of who you are. Temporary motivation may create quick results, but those fade. Sustainable habits build identity, and identity sustains change. There will be moments of boredom, frustration, and doubt. In those times, remember that growth is not always exciting, it is often quiet and repetitive. That is why most people give up too soon. But those who persist through the ordinary days eventually experience extraordinary change. Stay faithful to the process, even when you see no immediate result. Habits compound silently before they show visibly. Building strong daily habits also requires knowing your why. Purpose fuels persistence. If your habits have meaning, you will endure discomfort. For example, if you exercise only to look good, you may quit when results slow down. But if you exercise because you value strength, energy, and longevity, you will keep going. Connect every habit to a deeper reason: your health, your peace, your family, your future. Purpose gives power to repetition. As you build your structure, remember that balance matters. Habits should enhance life, not imprison it. You are not creating routines to restrict freedom but to expand it. The more consistent your systems become, the more mental space you gain for creativity and joy. Discipline creates stability, and stability allows spontaneity. A well-organized life has room for rest, because the essentials are already handled. You will notice that as your habits strengthen, your confidence grows naturally. You will begin to feel grounded. Challenges that once felt overwhelming will become manageable. You will stop chasing control in the outer world because you have found it within yourself. A person who controls their habits controls their direction. The beauty of habits is that they require no permission, no wealth, no special talent. Anyone can build them. The only ingredient required is consistency. Whether you are starting from chaos or already moving with momentum, your future begins the moment you repeat one positive act on purpose. Habits create momentum, and momentum changes identity. When your days are built on structure, you begin to think clearly, act intentionally, and live purposefully. You no longer drift through life reacting to everything. You move through each day with calm strength. That is the mark of a truly organized life, not a life free of challenge, but a life directed by order, clarity, and discipline. The truth is that greatness is not created in moments of inspiration, but in hours of repetition. Every master was once a beginner who built small habits with patience. Every achievement rests on the foundation of consistency. You cannot control every outcome, but you can control your effort each day. That effort, multiplied over time, builds an unbreakable structure. Building strong daily habits will not make life perfect, but it will make it stable, and stability gives you space to grow, think, and pursue what truly matters. Once your habits take root, they begin to organize your energy, time, and attention. Life feels less chaotic because you are no longer fighting against yourself. You are guided by order. Begin today with one small habit, one action that aligns with your values. Protect it, repeat it daily. Watch how it begins to change not just what you do, but who you are. Every repetition strengthens your foundation. Every day lived with purpose brings you closer to mastery. You will know you are progressing when your actions no longer require force. They flow naturally from who you have become. Building strong daily habits is not about doing more. It is about doing what matters consistently. When your habits align with your highest values, your life becomes a reflection of discipline, purpose, and peace. And that, more than any external success, is the truest form of order. A life organized by strong habits is not accidental, it is intentional. It is built one day at a time by someone who chooses structure over chaos, action over excuse, and discipline over doubt. In the end, your habits define the shape of your life, so choose them wisely, practice them daily, and protect them fiercely. Because once your habits are strong, your life becomes unshakable. Chapter 2. Create clear goals that give your days real direction. Taking full responsibility for every choice you make is the turning point between drifting through life and consciously directing it. Responsibility means ownership. It means recognizing that no matter what has happened in your past, your future depends on how you respond right now. Many people spend years blaming circumstances, luck, or others for where they are. But the moment you stop pointing outward and start looking inward, you begin to reclaim your power. Taking responsibility is not about guilt or blame, it's about control. It's about realizing that every choice, no matter how small, shapes the direction of your life. There is a quiet strength that comes from knowing that your actions, thoughts, and decisions are within your command. It's easy to surrender that control, to believe that external forces dictate your outcomes. But the truth is, while you cannot always choose what happens, you can always choose how you act, think, and move forward. When you live from that understanding, you stop being a victim of life and start becoming the author of it. Every person you admire for their success, discipline, or peace has reached that point of clarity. They stopped waiting for someone else to change their life and decided to change it themselves. Taking full responsibility starts with brutal honesty. It requires you to confront yourself without excuses. Every area of your life, your health, relationships, work, mindset, reflects your repeated choices. If your days are disorganized, it's because of the systems you haven't built. If your relationships are strained, it's because of the effort or communication you've avoided. If your goals remain unfulfilled, it's because of the actions you've delayed. This is not about self-criticism, it's about seeing reality clearly. You cannot fix what you refuse to face. When you take responsibility, you reclaim your ability to act. Many people confuse responsibility with control. Responsibility is not about controlling everything, it's about responding to everything with strength and awareness. Life will bring setbacks, unfair events, and unexpected pain. Taking responsibility doesn't mean you caused them. It means you refuse to let them define you. It's the difference between saying, "Why did this happen to me?" and asking, "What can I do now?" That single shift in language transforms your mindset from helplessness to empowerment. When you take full responsibility, You stop giving your power away to external conditions. Complaining, blaming, and waiting are subtle ways of surrendering your strength. Every complaint says, "I cannot do anything about this." Every blame says, "Someone else controls my outcome." But responsibility says, "This is mine to handle." It gives you back the authority to act. No change is possible until that shift happens. Taking ownership also builds self-respect. Every time you hold yourself accountable, you strengthen your inner integrity. You begin to trust your own word. This self-trust becomes the foundation of confidence. A responsible person does not rely on others to push them. They push themselves. They do not depend on luck. They depend on effort. They understand that progress is earned, not given. Responsibility also teaches humility. It forces you to admit when you've made mistakes and gives you the courage to learn from them. Many people avoid responsibility because they fear the discomfort of being wrong, but the willingness to own your mistakes is a sign of maturity and growth. Every mistake becomes a teacher when you face it directly. Blame keeps you stuck. Responsibility moves you forward. To live with full responsibility, you must stop making excuses. Excuses sound logical, but they protect comfort, not progress. They create a false sense of safety that prevents growth. When you say, "I don't have time," what you often mean is, "It's not my priority." When you say, "It's too difficult," what you mean is, "I don't want to face discomfort." Being honest with yourself, even when it stings, frees you from denial. The more truth you face, the stronger you become. Responsibility requires awareness of your choices in every moment. Each decision carries weight, whether you realize it or not. How you spend your morning, how you react to frustration, how you treat people, how you use your energy, all of it adds up. Big changes come from hundreds of small choices made with intention. When you start paying attention to these choices, you begin to see how much control you truly have. Taking responsibility also means no longer depending on external validation. You stop waiting for approval to act. You stop seeking permission to pursue what matters. You understand that your standards are yours to set. When you live this way, your confidence becomes self-generated. You act from conviction, not fear. You stop explaining your choices and start embodying them. There will always be temptations to shift responsibility, to say someone else made you angry, that the system is unfair, that the timing isn't right. But every time you surrender responsibility, you surrender your chance to grow. The person who angers you does not control your emotions, your response does. The system that challenges you does not define your success, your persistence does. The timing that feels wrong is often the moment you were meant to begin. Responsibility teaches you that power lies in response, not reaction. Living with responsibility also transforms relationships. When you stop blaming others for your emotions or expectations, you create space for respect and understanding. You start communicating with clarity instead of resentment. You stop trying to change people and focus on changing yourself. That shift often changes everything around you naturally. People trust and respect those who take ownership because responsibility radiates stability. To strengthen responsibility in daily life, practice 3 actions: pause, assess, and act. When faced with difficulty, pause before reacting. That brief moment gives you space to choose your response. Then assess the situation honestly. What part of this is within my control? What can I learn from this? Finally, act deliberately on what you can influence and release what you cannot. This simple habit builds inner power and clarity over time. Taking responsibility also means being accountable to your values. It's easy to talk about what you believe in, but living it requires consistency. Responsibility demands alignment between words and actions. If you value honesty, speak truth even when it costs you. If you value discipline, follow through even when it's inconvenient. Every time you honor your values through action, you strengthen your integrity. This principle also applies to your inner dialogue. How you talk to yourself determines how you act. Responsible thinking is calm, factual, and forward-focused. Irresponsible thinking is emotional, impulsive, and full of blame. Learn to guide your thoughts instead of being guided by them. When you make a poor choice, acknowledge it without judgment. I did this. Now I will do better. This is how responsibility turns mistakes into growth. It's also important to understand that responsibility is freedom. Many see it as a burden because it demands effort and accountability. But in truth, responsibility liberates you from dependence on chance. It frees you from waiting for others to act. It gives you the stability of knowing your progress is in your hands. The more responsibility you accept, the less chaos controls you. You start to see cause and effect clearly. Your thoughts lead to actions. Your actions lead to outcomes. That awareness brings peace. Responsibility is not only personal but collective. You affect others with your choices. When you keep promises, you build trust. When you act with integrity, you influence others to do the same. Your actions ripple outward. A responsible person raises the standard in every environment they enter, family, work, or community. They become reliable because they take ownership of their words and energy. To live responsibly also means accepting that life is not always fair. Some circumstances are harder than others. Some obstacles appear unjust. But the responsible person focuses on what can still be done, not on what cannot. This mindset creates resilience. It transforms adversity into training. While others complain, you adapt. While others give up, you continue. That persistence eventually separates those who grow from those who remain stuck. When you live without excuses, your confidence deepens. You begin to feel lighter because there's nothing left to hide behind. Every failure becomes feedback. Every success becomes proof of effort. You stop fearing mistakes because you trust your ability to learn from them. Responsibility turns life into a practice of continual refinement. This mindset also simplifies decision-making. When you take ownership of your life, you no longer overthink or seek endless approval. You act based on principles, not pressure. You make decisions knowing that if they lead to mistakes, you will handle them. That self-assurance reduces anxiety and increases clarity. The weight of uncertainty disappears because you trust yourself to adjust. Living with responsibility does not mean being harsh on yourself. It means being disciplined with compassion. It means holding yourself accountable without shame. True responsibility includes forgiveness. You cannot move forward if you are trapped in regret. Acknowledge the past, learn from it, and act better today. The goal is progress, not perfection. The greatest gift of taking full responsibility is empowerment. You realize that you don't have to wait for ideal conditions. You can begin changing your life right now through your decisions. You can choose better habits, better reactions, better priorities. Every moment becomes an opportunity to practice mastery. When you live this way, you begin to attract respect, opportunities, and peace. Others will sense the steadiness in you, the quiet confidence of someone who does not blame, does not complain, and does not wait. You will stand out in a world that often avoids accountability. Taking full responsibility for every choice you make is the essence of maturity and freedom. It is the foundation of every meaningful achievement and every lasting relationship. It is the moment you stop running from yourself and start standing firmly in who you are. Every day offers countless chances to practice this. Each decision, no matter how small, is a test of ownership. Each response is a reflection of who you choose to be. When you accept this, life stops feeling chaotic. You begin to see patterns. You see how your thoughts lead to actions and how your actions shape outcomes. You become calm because you know that every result begins with you. The person who takes responsibility walks with quiet confidence. They no longer depend on luck or excuses. They move forward with steady purpose, knowing that even if the path is uncertain, their direction is clear. That is the strength that builds an organized, grounded, and fulfilled life. Chapter 3: Take full responsibility for every choice you make. Clarity gives life direction, and direction gives it meaning. Without clear goals, days blur together, filled with motion but lacking purpose. You wake up, move through routines, and end the night wondering where the time went. When goals are unclear, effort feels scattered and motivation fades quickly. Creating clear goals is how you give structure to your energy. It's how you turn ordinary days into steps towards something meaningful. Goals are not just things to achieve, they are anchors that remind you why your actions matter. To live with direction, you must first decide what truly matters to you. Many people set goals based on comparison or external pressure. They chase things because others value them, not because they align with their own heart. Real goals are personal. They arise from reflection, from knowing what kind of life you want to live and what kind of person you wish to become. Before you write down what you want to achieve, take time to understand why you want it. When your goals are connected to meaning, commitment becomes natural. A clear goal is not vague or general. It is specific, measurable, and realistic enough to act on. Saying you want to be successful means little until you define what success means for you. Is it financial stability, freedom of time, creative fulfillment, or inner peace? Each requires a different path. Clarity turns dreams into targets, and targets can be hit. Without it, you are aiming in the dark. The first act of clarity is writing things down. Writing transforms thoughts into tangible intentions. It takes an idea from imagination to commitment. When you write your goals, be precise. Replace "get fit" with "exercise 4 times a week." Replace "read more" with "finish 1 book each month." Replace "be productive" with "complete 3 key tasks each day." Precision creates accountability. When goals are specific, you know exactly what success looks like. You can measure progress and adjust when needed. Goals should challenge you but not overwhelm you. If they are too easy, you stay comfortable. If they are too grand without structure, you feel defeated. The right balance is one that stretches your limits while still being achievable through steady effort. Break large goals into smaller steps. A goal like write a book becomes outline 1 chapter per week. Run a marathon becomes train 3 days a week. Every major transformation begins with a series of smaller, manageable wins. Direction also comes from timeframes. Without a timeline, goals lose urgency. A deadline transforms intention into action. It tells your mind that this is not a wish, it is a commitment. Set time-based milestones for your goals. For example, aim to learn a new skill within 3 months or save a certain amount by the end of the year. Deadlines create focus because they convert distant dreams into present priorities. Clarity also means knowing what to say no to. Every clear goal creates boundaries. When you know where you are going, you can recognize what distracts you. Many people fail not from lack of effort, but from divided effort. They chase multiple directions at once and never gain momentum. Focus is a form of discipline. It's the courage to pursue one path fully rather than several halfway. When your goals are clear, decisions become easier. You simply ask, does this move me closer to my purpose? If not, it doesn't deserve your energy. Writing goals is only the beginning. You must turn them into systems. Systems are the daily processes that make progress automatic. If your goal is to improve health, your system might include scheduled workouts, balanced meals, and adequate rest. If your goal is financial stability, your system might include budgeting, tracking expenses, and setting aside savings weekly. Systems transform ambition into habits, and habits sustain results. Goals also need review. Clarity fades when you don't revisit your direction. Life changes, priorities shift, and experiences bring new insight. Make it a practice to review your goals monthly or quarterly. Reflect on what's working, what isn't, and what matters most now. Adjust when necessary. Flexibility keeps your goals alive. Stubbornness keeps them stale. Growth often means refining your vision as you evolve. Another key to creating clear goals is emotional connection. Logical planning is useful, but emotion fuels consistency. You must feel deeply connected to the outcome you're pursuing. Visualize how it will feel to achieve it, how it will impact your life, confidence, and relationships. Emotion gives goals vitality. It reminds you why you started when challenges arise. Discipline and clarity work together. Discipline without direction becomes meaningless repetition, while direction without discipline becomes empty dreaming. When both exist, momentum builds. Begin each morning by reminding yourself of your main goal. Keep it visible on paper, in your workspace, or on your phone. The human mind drifts easily. Visible reminders pull it back. Repetition strengthens focus. Many people overestimate what they can achieve in a short time, but underestimate what they can achieve through years of steady direction. Patience is vital. Clear goals are not shortcuts, they are compasses. They point you forward through both fast and slow seasons. Progress may feel invisible at times, but each day lived with direction accumulates quietly into transformation. To stay aligned, evaluate each day by asking, did my actions today move me closer to my goal? This daily question builds awareness. It prevents mindless activity and keeps your time aligned with purpose. You begin to live deliberately rather than reactively. Even small consistent actions, when done with direction, create remarkable change over time. Goals should also balance external and internal growth. External goals, career, finances, achievements, bring structure to your ambitions. Internal goals, emotional control, patience, gratitude, shape your character. True direction integrates both. Achievements without inner stability often lead to emptiness. Inner growth without external action limits impact. A balanced life aims for both mastery and meaning. Avoid the trap of setting goals only to impress others. External validation cannot sustain commitment. When goals are built for approval, they lose authenticity. The most fulfilling goals arise from values, not vanity. Ask yourself, if no one ever saw this achievement, would it still matter to me? If the answer is yes, you've found something real. Clarity also requires honesty about trade-offs. Every choice excludes another. You cannot pursue every goal simultaneously. Each clear decision means sacrificing distractions. This is not loss, it is focus. Growth demands selective attention. The person who tries to do everything achieves nothing deeply. Choose fewer goals but commit fully to them. As you move forward, celebrate small milestones. Progress is built on encouragement, not just discipline. Recognizing growth reinforces motivation. Every small success reminds you that your direction is working. Momentum is emotional, it grows through acknowledgement. Take moments to appreciate your effort. Gratitude for progress keeps you grounded. Obstacles will always test your clarity. There will be moments when things feel uncertain or progress stalls. In those moments, revisit your original why. Ask yourself why this goal matters and what life would look like if you gave up. Reconnecting with purpose renews strength. Clarity is not something you find once. It's something you maintain through awareness. Goals give order to chaos. They help you navigate uncertainty by reminding you what deserves your attention. When you know where you're going, setbacks become detours, not dead ends. You learn to measure success not only by speed but by alignment. The person moving slowly in the right direction will always surpass the one rushing aimlessly. Every great transformation begins with clarity of purpose. Direction turns effort into progress. Once you know your goal, the next step becomes obvious. Clarity removes confusion because it tells you exactly what to do next. That simplicity reduces stress and increases confidence. When you wake each day knowing what matters, your energy feels unified and calm. Your goals are not just about reaching outcomes. They are about becoming someone capable of achieving them. The pursuit shapes you. It teaches focus, patience, and persistence. Every goal worth achieving requires growth along the way. That growth is the true reward. The external result is just a reflection of the inner transformation. To live without goals is to drift, reacting to life instead of creating it. To live with clear goals is to move with purpose, guided by intention instead of impulse. Every day becomes a piece of a larger vision. You wake with meaning, work with focus, and rest with satisfaction. Creating clear goals is not an act of control, it's an act of direction. It means deciding how you want to use your limited time and energy. It means refusing to let chance decide your future. Clarity does not guarantee an easy path, but it guarantees a meaningful one. When you define what matters, focus follows. When focus becomes action, progress begins. When progress continues long enough, transformation happens quietly, without drama, through consistent alignment. Clear goals turn ordinary days into deliberate steps toward an extraordinary life. At the end of every day, direction gives peace. You can rest knowing your time was spent with purpose, even if you haven't arrived yet. Life feels lighter when it moves forward with meaning. Clarity gives that gift. It turns each morning into a fresh opportunity to move closer to the life you've consciously chosen to build. Chapter 40. Simplify your environment to focus on what truly matters. A cluttered environment creates a cluttered mind. The things that surround you every day quietly shape how you think, feel, and perform. Every object you see, every sound you hear, and every digital notification you receive competes for your attention. Without realizing it, your surroundings can drain your focus and scatter your thoughts. Simplifying your environment is not about removing beauty or comfort. It's about removing what distracts you from living intentionally. When your space is clear, your mind follows. When your surroundings reflect order, peace becomes easier to access. The modern world rewards excess. More possessions, more screens, more noise, more stimulation, but more rarely leads to better. The constant pursuit of more makes people anxious, not fulfilled. The truth is that productivity, creativity, and calm all thrive in simplicity. Simplification is not a limitation, it's a form of liberation. It frees you from the unnecessary so you can give energy to what genuinely matters. The fewer distractions you have, the more energy you have for purpose. Simplifying your environment begins with awareness. Look around your space and ask what truly adds value to your life. What supports your goals, peace, or growth? What simply occupies space and steals attention? Every item in your home, workspace, or digital life should serve a purpose, either functional or emotional. When something doesn't, it adds invisible weight. You don't notice it at first, but the constant presence of clutter weakens focus over time. Start small. Begin with one area, the desk, a drawer, your phone. Don't try to simplify everything at once. That creates frustration instead of clarity. Choose a space that you see every day and remove what doesn't serve you. When you pick up an object, ask yourself, do I use this often? Does this improve my life in any way? If not, release it. There is peace in letting go. Every item you discard is one less decision your mind has to process. A simplified environment is not empty, it is intentional. It's filled only with things that contribute to your well-being and productivity. Keep what aligns with your values and purpose. This might mean fewer decorations, fewer gadgets, or fewer clothes, but everything that remains should have meaning. A single useful tool is worth more than a dozen unnecessary ones. Minimalism is not about owning less, it's about owning exactly what you need. Clutter doesn't only exist physically. Digital clutter can overwhelm the mind just as much as physical mess. Notifications, endless tabs, unnecessary emails, and constant scrolling fragment your focus. Simplifying your digital environment is as essential as cleaning your room. Turn off non-essential alerts, organize files, unsubscribe from content that doesn't inspire growth, and limit your online noise. A clean digital space promotes calm thinking and intentional action. Simplifying your environment also includes your mental space. Thoughts can clutter your mind the same way objects fill a room. Constant worry, overthinking, and multitasking crowd mental clarity. You can simplify mentally by practicing stillness. Take time each day to slow down, breathe, and reflect. When you clear your thoughts, priorities become visible again. The goal of simplification is not just to have fewer things, but to create more space for awareness. Simplicity also improves decision-making. Every item, message, or distraction demands a micro-decision. When your environment is filled with choices, decision fatigue sets in. You start to feel tired, unmotivated, or unfocused. A simpler space reduces that fatigue. You make fewer unnecessary decisions and save your energy for what truly requires attention. This is why successful people often streamline their surroundings. They understand that energy wasted on trivial choices is energy lost for meaningful ones. The act of simplifying is also deeply emotional. Many people hold on to things out of fear of needing them later, fear of losing memories, or fear of emptiness. But releasing what no longer serves you is not loss, it's growth. The memories remain even when the objects go. The lessons stay even when the reminders are gone. You make room for the new by letting go of the old. Clinging to clutter is a way of staying tied to the past. Simplicity is how you open space for the future. Simplifying your environment changes how you experience your time. When your surroundings are calm, you move slower but with purpose. You stop rushing because everything is where it should be. You no longer waste minutes searching for things or reorganizing constantly. The time you save can be used for reflection, rest, or creative work. The peace that comes from an ordered space is quiet but powerful. It allows you to focus deeply, work better, and live with less stress. Another benefit of simplifying is emotional clarity. When your environment is chaotic, your emotions often mirror that chaos. A messy room can create anxiety even if you don't consciously notice it. A cluttered desk can make your work feel heavier than it is. When you simplify, you remove that tension. You begin to feel lighter. Your mind associates the physical order around you with calm. This is why walking into a clean, organized space immediately changes your mood. It tells your mind that everything is under control. Simplicity also builds discipline. It requires you to decide what truly matters and to resist unnecessary accumulation. Every time you choose simplicity over excess, you strengthen your willpower. You prove to yourself that you don't need to be surrounded by constant stimulation to feel fulfilled. You begin to value depth over variety and presence over distraction. Simplicity teaches patience because you learn to appreciate what you already have instead of chasing what you don't. To maintain a simplified environment, consistency matters. Decluttering once is not enough. Order requires maintenance. Create small daily habits to preserve clarity. Put things back after use, clear your desk at the end of the day, and clean your digital files regularly. These small acts prevent chaos from creeping back in. Simplicity is not a one-time project. It's a lifestyle of awareness and intentionality. You can also apply simplicity to your schedule. Overcommitment is another form of clutter. Too many tasks, obligations, and meetings scatter focus just as much as physical mess. Review your commitments regularly and ask which ones truly align with your priorities. Learn to say no to things that consume time but add no value. When your schedule is simple, your mind has space to breathe. You find joy in doing fewer things well instead of many things poorly. Simplifying your environment is also a practice of gratitude. When you reduce excess, you start appreciating the essentials. You notice the comfort of a clean space, the usefulness of what remains, and the peace of less noise. Gratitude grows naturally when you're not buried in unnecessary possessions or distractions. You start seeing abundance in simplicity instead of seeking it in accumulation. Your surroundings should reflect who you are becoming, not who you were. As you evolve, so should your environment. Periodically reassess your space and adjust it to match your current values and goals. Growth often requires shedding the old to make room for the new. A simplified environment evolves with you, supporting your journey instead of holding you back. Simplicity also enhances creativity. When your environment is uncluttered, your mind becomes freer to imagine and explore. Too many distractions block inspiration. A clear space acts like a blank canvas. It invites fresh ideas. Artists, writers, and thinkers throughout history have understood this truth. Clarity of space encourages clarity of thought. To create lasting simplicity, focus on quality. Choose fewer items but make them meaningful. Own tools that serve you well, clothes that fit your lifestyle, and possessions that bring real utility or joy. Quality over quantity creates satisfaction and reduces the desire to accumulate more. This approach also extends to relationships and experiences. Fewer, deeper connections are more fulfilling than many shallow ones. Simplifying your environment also simplifies your identity. When you no longer define yourself by possessions or appearances, you connect more deeply with who you are. You stop measuring worth by what you own and start measuring it by how you live. This inner clarity becomes visible in the calmness of your surroundings. The journey towards simplicity requires patience. At first, it may feel uncomfortable to remove things or to live with less stimulation. But with time, you'll notice how peace replaces that discomfort. You'll begin to crave simplicity because of how it feels light, free, and focused. You'll discover that peace doesn't come from adding more to life, but from subtracting what doesn't matter. Simplifying your environment is an act of self-respect. It shows that you value your energy and attention. It shows that you refuse to live buried under distractions. It shows that you want to be fully present for what truly matters, your growth, your relationships, your purpose. Every time you simplify, you take back control from the chaos of excess. When your surroundings are calm, your inner world mirrors that calm. You think clearly, act decisively, and rest peacefully. You begin to move through your days with lightness instead of pressure. Simplification is not about emptiness, it's about focus. It's the art of making space for what deserves to stay. A simplified environment becomes the foundation for an organized life. It gives you mental clarity, emotional stability, and space for growth. The less noise you allow, the more you can hear your own thoughts. The less clutter you keep, the more energy you have for what truly matters. Life feels lighter when you stop carrying what you no longer need, and in that lightness, focus returns, peace grows, and your direction becomes unmistakably clear. Chapter 5e: Master your time by planning each day with purpose. Time is the only resource that cannot be regained once it is spent. Every second that passes is a piece of your life you will never receive again. To master your time is to master your life. The difference between those who live with purpose and those who live in constant chaos is not luck, intelligence, or opportunity. It is how they use their hours. Each day is a small lifetime. How you spend it determines the direction of everything that follows. Planning your days with purpose turns ordinary time into deliberate progress. It transforms distraction into clarity and confusion into calm focus. Many people wake up each day reacting instead of creating. They check their phones, respond to messages, and let the world dictate their priorities. By the time evening comes, they are exhausted but uncertain about what they actually accomplished. Without a plan, life becomes a series of reactions instead of actions. To plan your day is to claim authority over your time. It is to tell the day what you will do with it, instead of letting the day decide for you. A purposeful plan is not about strict control. It is about conscious direction. The first step to mastering time is awareness. You must understand where your time currently goes. Most people underestimate how much of it is lost to distraction. Keep a record for a few days. Note how you spend each hour. You might be surprised by how much time slips away unnoticed. Awareness exposes waste, and once you see it, you can reclaim it. The purpose of this exercise is not guilt, it is clarity. You cannot improve what you do not measure. Once you see your time clearly, the next step is to assign it meaning. Every day should have a purpose beyond survival. Ask yourself each morning, what is essential today? What 1 or 2 tasks, if completed, will bring me closer to my long-term goals? Purposeful planning begins with priorities. It forces you to distinguish between what is important and what is merely urgent. Urgent tasks demand attention, but important ones build the life you want. When you focus only on urgency, you stay busy but not productive. When you prioritize importance, you make progress that lasts. A powerful way to plan your day is to divide it into focused segments. Start with a morning routine that grounds you before the world interferes. Use this quiet time to reflect, plan, and align yourself with purpose. Mornings set the tone for everything that follows. Then dedicate uninterrupted blocks of time to meaningful work. Protect these blocks fiercely. Turn off notifications, close unnecessary tabs, and give your full attention to the task at hand. Focused work accomplishes more in an hour than scattered work does in an entire day. You must also recognize that not every hour is equal. Energy fluctuates throughout the day. Some hours hold more mental clarity than others. Observe your natural rhythm and schedule your most demanding tasks when your focus is strongest. Use lower energy hours for smaller, less creative work. Planning according to your energy ensures that your effort is spent wisely. Time management is really energy management in disguise. Another key to mastering time is learning to say no. Every yes consumes part of your day, and every day has limits. Many people overload their schedules out of fear of disappointing others or missing opportunities. But spreading yourself too thin weakens the quality of everything you do. A purposeful plan includes boundaries. You must protect your time as if it were your most valuable possession, because it is. Saying no to the unnecessary is how you say yes to what truly matters. To plan your day effectively, create structure but allow flexibility. A good plan is clear yet adaptable. Life will bring interruptions, and rigid perfectionism leads to frustration. Focus on the direction, not the details. If one task shifts, adjust calmly and continue. The goal is consistency, not control. Each day is a practice in refinement. You learn what works, what doesn't, and how to improve the next day's rhythm. A written plan strengthens intention. Start each morning by writing down your top 3 priorities. Then list smaller supporting tasks. Keep this visible throughout the day. Writing turns thoughts into commitments. It's a quiet contract with yourself. When you complete a task, cross it off, not for the sake of productivity, but to reinforce progress. These small completions build momentum. Momentum builds confidence. Avoid the trap of multitasking. Doing many things at once scatters focus and reduces the quality of your work. The human mind is most powerful when it is fully absorbed in one activity. Multitasking creates the illusion of efficiency, but actually delays results. Train yourself to do one thing at a time with complete attention. When you finish, move to the next with the same focus. This rhythm creates a calm and productive state of flow. Distraction is the greatest thief of time. The modern world is designed to capture attention. Every notification, advertisement, and alert pulls your focus away from meaningful work. Protect your concentration as fiercely as your time. Keep your environment simple. Silence unnecessary devices. Schedule specific periods for digital engagement rather than allowing it to interrupt your focus repeatedly. A single hour of undistracted attention often accomplishes more than several hours of fragmented effort. To master your time, you must also learn to rest. Productivity without restoration leads to burnout, and burnout destroys purpose. Rest is not wasted time, it is an investment in clarity and longevity. Include pauses in your day to breathe, stretch, or step outside. These moments reset your mind and renew your energy. A rested mind plans better, decides faster, and creates deeper work. Balance is not the opposite of discipline, it's what sustains it. Evenings are as important as mornings. How you end your day determines how well you begin the next one. Take a few minutes before bed to reflect on what you accomplished, what could be improved, and what tomorrow requires. This reflection creates closure. It prevents your mind from carrying unfinished thoughts into sleep. Write down tomorrow's key priorities so you can wake up ready to act instead of react. Consistency is the foundation of time mastery. A single day of planning helps, but long-term success comes from repetition. The more you practice purposeful planning, the more natural it becomes. Your days start to flow with rhythm instead of chaos. Each one builds on the last. Purpose compounds over time, just like effort. You must also understand that time mastery is not about filling every moment with work. It's about aligning time with meaning. When your actions match your values, your time feels well spent. Even rest becomes purposeful when it supports renewal. A well-planned life doesn't feel rigid, it feels balanced. It has room for focus, growth, and peace. To keep your planning effective, review your goals regularly. Plans should evolve as your life does. What mattered last year may not matter now. Adjust your time allocation accordingly. This ongoing review keeps your schedule aligned with your present purpose. Many people continue chasing old priorities because they never stop to question them. Purposeful planning means constant awareness of what deserves your time today, not what used to. A practical method for managing time is using the principle of 3. Each day, identify 3 major tasks that align with your larger goals. Focus on completing those first before anything else. Once they're done, you've already succeeded, no matter what follows. Simplicity in planning leads to clarity in execution. You don't need to do everything, you just need to do what truly matters. Procrastination often hides behind perfectionism. People delay action because they want the ideal plan before starting. But time mastery is built through movement, not waiting. A plan is meant to guide, not to imprison. Start imperfectly, learn quickly, and adjust daily. Progress belongs to those who act even when conditions aren't ideal. Every small act of planning followed by action teaches you how to use time better. When you live without structure, days pass unnoticed. But when you plan each day with purpose, time becomes visible. You see where it goes, how it's used, and what it produces. That awareness creates peace. You stop feeling rushed because you know your hours are being spent intentionally. You experience control not through rigidity, but through clarity. To master your time is to respect your life. It is to understand that your minutes hold meaning far beyond the clock. When you plan your days with purpose, you no longer chase time, you direct it. You decide what matters, you act accordingly, and you end each day with satisfaction instead of regret. Time mastery is not about doing more, it's about doing what aligns with who you want to become. When your hours serve your higher vision, life feels organized, steady, and meaningful. Each sunrise becomes a new opportunity to move closer to that vision, one planned day at a time. When you plan with intention and live with focus, time becomes your ally instead of your enemy, and every day becomes a deliberate step toward a well-ordered, fulfilling life. Chapter 6c. Strengthen your mind through daily learning and reflection. The mind is the foundation of every action, decision, and emotion. When your mind is strong, life feels manageable even in the face of uncertainty. When it's weak, even small challenges feel heavy. Strengthening your mind is not about hardening yourself against the world. It's about developing clarity, wisdom, and balance so that you can move through life with stability. A strong mind doesn't happen by chance. It's built intentionally through consistent learning and honest reflection. Each day offers a chance to sharpen your thinking, question your beliefs, and grow wiser than you were yesterday. Learning is the nourishment of the mind. Just as your body needs food to stay alive, your thoughts need new information to stay sharp. But learning is more than collecting facts. It's about understanding ideas deeply enough to apply them. It's the habit of curiosity, the desire to know more about yourself, others, and the world around you. The moment you stop learning, your growth stops. The mind becomes stagnant when it's no longer challenged. The strongest minds stay open and hungry for insight. Daily learning doesn't have to be complex or time-consuming. It's not limited to books or formal education. Every conversation, experience, and observation can teach something if you approach it consciously. You can learn from a mistake, from watching how someone handles pressure, or from reflecting on your own reactions. The key is awareness. Learning happens when you stay curious and ask questions instead of assuming you already know. Make it a daily practice to feed your mind intentionally. Read something that challenges your perspective. Listen to content that expands your understanding. Reflect on one new idea each day and explore how it connects to your own life. The goal is not to memorize information, but to absorb principles that guide better thinking. Knowledge without application fades quickly. Wisdom comes from reflection and use. Reflection is where learning turns into growth. Without reflection, even the best lessons are forgotten. Reflection means taking time to think about your experiences, to examine your choices, your thoughts, and the results they created. It's not about judgment, but understanding. Each evening, ask yourself what went well, what could have gone better, and what you learned from it. This habit of review sharpens awareness. You begin to see patterns in your behavior and thinking. You notice which actions align with your values and which do not. This awareness is the beginning of wisdom. Strengthening your mind requires discipline. You must be willing to sit in silence, to think deeply, and to question your own assumptions. The world moves fast and rarely encourages stillness, but reflection happens in stillness. A distracted mind cannot grow. You need moments of quiet to process what you learn, to form your own understanding, and to decide how to apply it. Mental strength grows in the space between information and insight. Daily learning also builds confidence. When you consistently expose yourself to new ideas, you begin to trust your ability to understand, adapt, and solve problems. You no longer fear the unknown because you've trained your mind to seek solutions instead of panic. Every new skill, every piece of knowledge, and every lesson applied adds another layer of resilience. You start to view challenges as opportunities to learn rather than threats to your comfort. Another part of strengthening your mind is developing emotional awareness. Learning is not only intellectual, it's emotional too. When you reflect on your feelings, you understand how they shape your actions. Instead of reacting impulsively, you begin to respond thoughtfully. Emotional intelligence is one of the highest forms of mental strength. It allows you to remain calm under pressure, compassionate with others, and honest with yourself. Be deliberate about what you allow into your mind. The information you consume shapes your thoughts, and your thoughts shape your life. Avoid filling your mind with noise, negativity, gossip, or meaningless distractions weaken focus. Choose inputs that inspire growth. Read literature that uplifts, study philosophies that promote balance, and surround yourself with people who encourage thoughtful dialogue. Protecting your mental diet is as important as protecting your physical one. One of the simplest ways to strengthen the mind is through journaling. Writing helps you slow down your thoughts and turn chaos into clarity. When you put words on paper, your mind organizes itself. Journaling is not about being perfect, it's about being honest. Write what you think, what you feel, what you've learned, and what you hope to improve. Over time, your own words become a mirror showing how far you've come. To grow mentally, embrace discomfort. True learning often begins where comfort ends. When you expose yourself to new perspectives, challenging books, or difficult conversations, your mind stretches. Growth requires friction, the effort of understanding something unfamiliar. Don't avoid this challenge, seek it. Each time you wrestle with a complex idea or face a situation that tests your patience, you're strengthening your mental endurance. Reflection also requires humility. You must be willing to admit when you're wrong, to see your limitations, and to accept feedback without defensiveness. A rigid mind resists learning. A humble one absorbs it. When you approach life with the mindset of a student, every experience becomes a teacher. Humility turns mistakes into lessons and failure into improvement. Mental strength is also built through focus. In a world full of noise, the ability to concentrate is rare and powerful. Practicing focus, whether through reading without distraction, mindful breathing, or deep thinking, trains your brain to resist impulsive distractions. A focused mind can achieve in hours what a scattered one cannot in days. The more you train focus, the stronger your control over attention becomes. Developing your mind also means balancing input and creation. Consuming information is only half the process. Creating something from it completes the cycle. Write, teach, share, or discuss what you learn. Explaining an idea to others forces you to understand it more deeply. Teaching is one of the most powerful forms of reflection. It transforms knowledge into mastery. Daily reflection helps you stay aligned with your values. When you pause to assess your actions, you notice whether your days reflect who you want to be. This awareness prevents drift. You stop living on autopilot and start making deliberate choices. A strong mind is guided by intention, not impulse. Reflection strengthens that inner compass, helping you stay steady even when circumstances shift. Mental growth also requires rest. Just as muscles grow during recovery, the mind strengthens during pauses. Overloading your brain with constant input without giving it time to integrate leads to confusion. Schedule moments of quiet throughout the day. Walk without music, breathe without distraction, or sit in silence. These small breaks allow the mind to process, connect, and restore clarity. A strong mind is not one that avoids struggle, but one that learns through it. Every obstacle contains a lesson if you look closely. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening?" ask, "What is this teaching me?" This perspective transforms hardship into mental training. Each difficulty faced consciously builds resilience, perspective, and calm. With time, you begin to see that growth and discomfort often arrive together. To strengthen your mind through learning, vary your sources. Read philosophy for wisdom, psychology for self-awareness, history for perspective, and biographies for inspiration. Exposure to diverse ideas prevents narrow thinking. It helps you understand that there are many ways to view the world. This broader awareness increases empathy and sharpens judgment. A well-rounded mind sees beyond its own experiences. Consistency is the hidden key to mental strength. Reading once in a while or reflecting occasionally won't create lasting change. The mind grows through daily repetition. Just as physical exercise requires consistency to build strength, mental growth requires daily engagement. 10 minutes of focused reflection or learning every day is more powerful than hours of occasional effort. Regularity turns growth into habit. Your mind is your greatest tool. Everything you achieve, create, or overcome begins there. Strengthening it through daily learning and reflection makes you adaptable, thoughtful, and calm in every situation. You no longer react blindly. You think, decide, and act with awareness. You stop being controlled by emotion or circumstance because your mind is trained to see clearly. In time, this practice transforms your entire experience of life. You begin to find peace in learning itself. Reflection becomes a form of guidance, teaching you not just how to succeed but how to live wisely. Each day becomes both a lesson and an opportunity for improvement. With every new idea explored and every reflection made, you become stronger, calmer, and more self-aware. A strong mind is not loud or restless, it is steady. It doesn't need to prove it understands. It doesn't rush, it observes. It learns from everything and reacts to little. By committing to daily learning and reflection, you build that kind of mind, a mind that stays clear when others panic, that grows when others resist, and that continues to evolve no matter what life presents. In that strength lies freedom, the freedom to live thoughtfully, act deliberately, and grow endlessly. Chapter 70. Stay disciplined even when motivation starts to fade away. Discipline is the bridge between goals and achievement. Motivation may ignite the desire to begin, but it is discipline that keeps you moving when excitement disappears. Everyone feels inspired at the start of a journey. The vision of success is clear, the energy feels endless, and the first steps come easily. But as time passes, that spark begins to fade. The effort starts to feel heavy. Distractions multiply. The path that once felt exciting now demands endurance. This is where most people stop. At the moment motivation weakens. The few who keep going understand that consistency, not inspiration, creates results. They rely on discipline because discipline is steady when emotions are not. Staying disciplined means acting according to your values instead of your moods. It means following through even when you don't feel like it. Motivation is a feeling, discipline is a decision. Feelings fluctuate, but decisions can remain constant. When you train yourself to act regardless of emotion, you become unstoppable. You learn to treat effort as a habit, not a choice. That mindset transforms you from someone who waits for the right moment into someone who creates it. The truth about motivation is that it's unreliable. It comes and goes based on external conditions, good weather, inspiring words, positive results. But life won't always align with your mood. Some days you'll wake up tired, distracted, or disheartened. Waiting for motivation on those days means waiting for progress that never comes. Discipline is the system that carries you through these moments. It doesn't depend on energy or excitement. It depends on commitment. To stay disciplined, you must first understand your why. Discipline without purpose quickly turns into frustration. When your reason for doing something is strong, you can push through resistance. Remind yourself daily why your actions matter. Write it down and read it when your energy drops. Purpose fuels discipline the same way wind fuels a sail. It keeps you moving even when the sea is calm. A clear reason gives meaning to routine. Without meaning, effort feels empty. Discipline also thrives on structure. A defined routine eliminates indecision. When you plan your day and set clear times for your priorities, you reduce the need to rely on willpower. Discipline grows in environments that minimize temptation and confusion. If you plan your workout the night before, you don't have to decide whether or not to go in the morning. You simply go. If your workspace is clean and your tasks are outlined, you begin working without hesitation. Every structure you create protects discipline from fading. Another secret to staying disciplined is simplifying your focus. Trying to master everything at once leads to burnout. Choose a few key areas that truly matter and commit to them fully. The mind performs better when it's not scattered. Each success in one area strengthens confidence in the others. Discipline thrives in clarity. When your goals are simple, your effort becomes powerful. Progress should always be visible, no matter how small. The human mind needs to see results to stay consistent. Track your actions daily, write them down, mark them off, or measure your progress visually. These small signals reinforce that your work matters. Progress, even in small increments, is fuel for persistence. When motivation fades, tangible proof of growth reminds you that discipline is working. Discipline also means accepting that effort often feels uncomfortable. Growth always demands a price: time, patience, repetition. The disciplined person understands that discomfort is part of the process, not a sign of failure. When you accept that difficult moments are normal, you stop resisting them. You move forward calmly, knowing that pain is temporary but consistency builds permanence. Comfort is pleasant, but it rarely produces greatness. You must also learn to manage self-talk. When motivation fades, the mind fills with excuses. I'll do it tomorrow. It doesn't matter today. I need a break. These are traps disguised as kindness. The disciplined mind recognizes them and responds with action instead of negotiation. You train your thoughts to obey your purpose, not your impulses. The more often you follow through despite inner resistance, the quieter that voice of excuse becomes. Discipline silences doubt through repetition. Accountability strengthens discipline. When you share your goals with someone who respects your growth, it creates an external reminder of your commitment. Accountability doesn't mean depending on others for motivation. It means using connection to reinforce integrity. Knowing that someone else is aware of your standards encourages consistency. Over time, accountability shifts inward. You start doing things not because someone is watching, but because you refuse to betray your own word. Rest is also a vital part of discipline. Pushing without recovery leads to burnout and resentment. Discipline is not blind force, it's balance. It means knowing when to act and when to restore energy. Schedule time for rest as intentionally as time for work. Proper rest renews focus, keeps emotions stable, and allows discipline to remain sustainable. Without it, consistency collapses under exhaustion. Rewards can reinforce discipline when used wisely. Recognize your progress with meaningful rewards that support your goals, not ones that sabotage them. For example, after completing a week of consistent effort, treat yourself to something that refreshes your mind or body, a walk in nature, a favorite book, or quiet time. Rewards signal your brain that effort leads to satisfaction, building a positive connection between discipline and fulfillment. It's important to understand that discipline doesn't mean perfection. You will slip, miss a day, or fall short. What matters is how you respond afterward. The disciplined person returns quickly, without guilt or drama. Failure is not the opposite of discipline, it's part of it. Each time you recover, you strengthen resilience. Missing one step does not erase progress unless you stop moving altogether. When motivation fades, focus on process, not outcome. Big goals can feel distant, and that distance creates discouragement. Instead, direct your attention to what can be done today. You cannot control future results, but you can control the next action. Each completed task becomes a small victory, reinforcing momentum. The future belongs to those who master today. Another key to staying disciplined is environment design. Surround yourself with cues that remind you of your commitment. Visual triggers, quotes, checklists, progress charts keep your purpose visible. Remove temptations that pull you away from focus. A disciplined person doesn't rely on willpower alone. They build surroundings that make good choices easier and bad choices harder. Environment quietly shapes behavior more than motivation ever could. Discipline is also built through patience. You must accept that results take time. The greatest trap is expecting quick rewards for long-term efforts. The disciplined person understands the rhythm of progress, steady, slow, invisible at first. They trust the process even when evidence is minimal. Patience transforms discipline from struggle into strength. When you no longer rush, you stop doubting. Mental resilience is another pillar of discipline. Challenges, setbacks, and delays are inevitable. What separates the consistent from the inconsistent is response. A disciplined mind adapts instead of quitting. It sees obstacles as part of the path, not interruptions. Each difficulty becomes a lesson in persistence. With every challenge overcome, endurance grows stronger. To stay disciplined, redefine success. Instead of measuring it only by outcomes, measure it by integrity, the act of keeping your promises to yourself. Every time you follow through, even on small tasks, you reinforce self-respect. This internal respect is what carries you when no one else notices your effort. A person who honors their own word needs no external motivation. Their standard becomes their strength. Routine is the container that holds discipline together. When you repeat an action at the same time every day, it becomes automatic. You remove the decision and act from habit. Over time, discipline transforms into identity. You no longer need to push yourself because the behavior becomes part of who you are. The goal is not to fight for consistency, but to live it naturally. It's also crucial to stay adaptable. Life will never go exactly as planned. Discipline means holding firm to your principles while adjusting your methods. If one approach fails, find another without losing commitment. Adaptability keeps discipline alive when circumstances change. Rigidity breaks under pressure, flexibility bends and continues. Remember that discipline is freedom. It might sound like restriction, but it gives you control over time, focus, and emotion. It allows you to do what needs to be done instead of being enslaved by impulse. A disciplined life feels lighter because it removes the weight of indecision and regret. Each day becomes structured, purposeful, and peaceful. When motivation fades, you rely on the habits you've built. When excitement disappears, you depend on consistency. And when challenges appear, you trust the foundation you've strengthened through daily effort. Discipline doesn't shout or boast. It works quietly, repeating the same deliberate actions until success becomes inevitable. The moment you choose discipline over motivation, you stop waiting for inspiration and start creating it. You begin to experience the calm confidence that comes from reliability. You no longer fear failure because you trust yourself to keep moving. You don't need perfect conditions because you know consistency creates progress regardless of circumstance. To stay disciplined when motivation fades is to become unshakable. It is to live by choice rather than chance, to act from purpose rather than emotion. Each day you practice this, you become stronger, steadier, and more capable of achieving whatever you set your mind to. Discipline is the quiet force that carries you forward when nothing else does, and mastering it means mastering yourself. Chapter 80. Develop emotional control to stay calm under pressure. Emotional control is one of the highest forms of strength a person can develop. The ability to stay calm under pressure, to think clearly in chaos, and to act with reason instead of impulse determines how effectively you navigate life. People often assume that control means suppressing emotion, but it is not about denial, it is about understanding. True control comes from awareness, not avoidance. It is the ability to recognize what you feel, understand why you feel it, and respond in a way that serves your values instead of your reactions. When you master your emotions, you master yourself. Pressure reveals character. Anyone can appear composed when things are easy, but the real test comes when stress rises, plans collapse, or uncertainty takes over. In those moments, emotions surge like a wave. Anger, fear, and frustration rush forward, demanding reaction. Most people surrender to that rush, acting in ways they later regret. But a person with emotional control pauses. They create space between the emotion and the response. That space is power. It's where choice lives. Instead of being driven by emotion, you use emotion as information. You listen, process, and then act deliberately. To develop emotional control, start by increasing your self-awareness. Notice what triggers strong emotions in you. Observe your patterns. What situations make you impatient, defensive, or anxious? Awareness transforms reaction into understanding. When you identify the cause, you begin to see that emotions are not enemies, they are signals. Anger might reveal a boundary being crossed. Fear might show an area where you lack preparation. Sadness might highlight something you've been avoiding. Once you see emotions as messages instead of threats, you can respond intelligently. Breathing is one of the simplest but most powerful tools for emotional control. Under pressure, the body reacts first. Heart rate rises, muscles tense, breathing shortens. Slowing your breath sends a signal to your brain that you are safe. Deep, steady breathing restores clarity and interrupts the automatic stress response. This small act of control over the body calms the mind. Practice it daily, not only when you feel overwhelmed. It builds a reflex of calmness that activates naturally when tension appears. Emotional control also depends on perspective. Most emotional turmoil comes not from events themselves but from how we interpret them. When something goes wrong, we often exaggerate the consequences or personalize the outcome. Developing a balanced perspective means learning to separate fact from story. Ask yourself, What actually happened, and what am I telling myself about it? This simple question can dissolve unnecessary distress. Perspective turns problems into manageable situations. Another way to strengthen emotional control is through deliberate detachment. Detachment does not mean indifference. It means maintaining composure regardless of outcome. It's accepting that some things are beyond your influence. You can control effort, not results, actions, not reactions. When you accept this truth, frustration loses its grip. You stop trying to force the uncontrollable and focus your energy where it matters. Detachment gives you freedom from emotional chaos because it aligns your expectations with reality. The mind often amplifies emotions through repetition. When you replay a stressful event or imagine negative outcomes, the emotion grows stronger. To control this pattern, practice redirecting your attention. Focus on solutions instead of problems. Engage in a productive action, no matter how small. Movement breaks mental loops. Every time you redirect your attention, you weaken the emotional hold of the situation. Over time, you train your brain to respond with problem-solving instead of rumination. Emotional control also comes from knowing your values. When you are clear about who you are and what matters most, external chaos cannot easily disturb you. Values act as anchors. They hold you steady when emotions try to pull you away. If integrity, patience, or calm are part of your values, then behaving according to them becomes non-negotiable. You stop reacting to emotion and start acting in alignment with principle. This inner standard gives peace even during conflict. You can also train emotional control by placing yourself in controlled discomfort. Seek small challenges that test your patience or composure. Whether it's waiting without checking your phone, managing a difficult conversation calmly, or practicing silence when you want to argue, each act builds inner strength. Emotional control grows through repetition, like a muscle. You cannot expect to stay calm in chaos if you never practice calm in small moments. The people you surround yourself with also influence your emotional state. Environments filled with drama, negativity, or constant stress make control harder. Surround yourself with individuals who handle pressure with grace. Observe how they speak, how they move, how they respond. Emotional stability is contagious. When you spend time with calm people, you begin to mirror that energy. It's important to remember that emotional control does not mean never feeling deeply. Emotion gives life meaning. Joy, sadness, excitement, and empathy connect you to humanity. The goal is not to eliminate feeling, but to balance it. Control means allowing emotion to move through you without letting it dominate you. You acknowledge the feeling, honor its presence, and then choose your response consciously. Reflection strengthens emotional mastery. After moments of emotional intensity, look back and analyze how you handled them. What triggered the emotion? What did you do well? What could be improved? This self-inquiry turns every emotional challenge into training. Each reflection refines awareness, making you calmer in future situations. Reflection transforms mistakes into lessons instead of regrets. Mindfulness also deepens emotional control. By staying fully present in each moment, you reduce the influence of past regrets and future worries. Most emotional instability arises from leaving the present, either reliving old pain or anticipating potential loss. Mindfulness grounds you in what is real right now. You begin to observe emotions as passing experiences, not permanent states. With time, you realize that feelings rise and fall like waves, and you don't have to drown in them. Language plays a powerful role in emotional regulation. The words you use to describe your emotions can either magnify or calm them. Saying, "I'm furious," intensifies anger. Saying, "I'm feeling frustrated," reduces its grip. Choose language that separates you from the emotion rather than merges with it. You are not your anger or fear, you are the observer of it. This shift in wording rewires the mind to see emotion as transient. When facing pressure, visualize calmness. Picture yourself handling the situation with composure and confidence. Visualization trains the mind for real situations. The brain responds to imagined experiences almost as strongly as real ones. So practicing calm in your imagination prepares you to stay centered when challenges arrive. Another method for emotional strength is practicing gratitude during stress. Gratitude shifts focus from what's wrong to what remains right. Even in pressure, there are always elements of stability: your breath, your awareness, your ability to choose your response. Focusing on gratitude interrupts the spiral of negativity and restores emotional balance. Learning to pause before reacting is one of the most effective habits for control. In the heat of emotion, the first impulse is rarely the wisest one. Train yourself to pause a single breath, a few seconds of silence, before speaking or acting. This moment of stillness creates separation between feeling and response. It prevents regret and builds respect, both for yourself and others. Emotional control is not built overnight. It's developed through countless small moments of practice. Each time you remain calm instead of snapping, each time you think before reacting, each time you choose patience over aggression, you strengthen your control. Over time, calmness becomes your natural state. You start to trust your own steadiness even in the face of difficulty. Pressure will always exist. You cannot remove it from life, but you can control how you meet it. When your emotions are steady, you think clearly, act wisely, and maintain dignity even under strain. People who stay calm during crisis often appear extraordinary, but their strength comes from daily discipline, repeated practice of awareness, patience, and understanding. Developing emotional control ultimately gives you freedom. You stop being at the mercy of your environment or the behavior of others. You no longer lose peace over things outside your influence. You respond with intention, not reaction. You act from clarity, not chaos. The world remains unpredictable, but your inner world becomes stable. When you cultivate calm under pressure, you gain an advantage that few possess. You make better decisions, preserve relationships, and maintain health in situations that break others. Calmness is strength disguised as softness. It's not weakness, it's mastery. It means you can face storms without losing direction, conflicts without losing compassion, and challenges without losing yourself. That is the essence of true control, the power to stay centered no matter how loud the world becomes. Chapter 9c. Practice gratitude daily to build lasting inner peace. Gratitude is one of the most powerful practices for creating inner peace and resilience. It is the conscious choice to notice what is good in your life rather than focusing on what is lacking. Most people move through their days consumed by what they want, what went wrong, or what challenges they face. That constant focus on absence breeds dissatisfaction and stress. Practicing gratitude daily shifts attention from scarcity to abundance. It trains the mind to see value in ordinary moments and recognize the unseen blessings that are always present. Gratitude does not ignore difficulty. It coexists with challenge while providing a foundation of stability. The act of acknowledging what you are grateful for rewires the brain. Neuroscience shows that gratitude strengthens neural pathways associated with positivity, optimism, and emotional regulation. When you consciously focus on what is good, your mind begins to notice more of it automatically. Over time, this creates a feedback loop where gratitude breeds more gratitude. Even in stressful situations, a person who has cultivated this habit can identify a small element of good to hold on to, which reduces anxiety and strengthens resilience. To practice gratitude, begin with awareness. Take note of the ordinary aspects of life that are often overlooked: the warmth of sunlight, the comfort of a clean bed, a meal that nourishes, or the presence of supportive relationships. These small details accumulate to create a sense of abundance. Writing them down daily magnifies the effect. Journaling gratitude allows you to return to those observations and reinforce their significance. A simple list of 3 to 5 items each day creates a foundation of consistent positivity. Gratitude also transforms perspective. When you focus on what you have rather than what you lack, comparisons lose their power. Envy and resentment fade because your attention is no longer consumed by others' circumstances. Gratitude centers you in your own experience and reminds you that fulfillment is not found in external validation, but in the recognition of what already exists. A mindset anchored in gratitude provides a stable emotional platform from which to handle life's challenges. One of the most impactful ways to cultivate gratitude is to reflect on the contrast between your current situation and worse possibilities. Appreciating not just what you have, but what could have been, heightens awareness of blessings often taken for granted. Health, shelter, and relationships are common examples. By consciously acknowledging that circumstances could be more difficult, you deepen your appreciation for what is present. This practice cultivates humility and reduces entitlement. Expressing gratitude outwardly strengthens its impact. Thanking people for their contributions, small or large, builds connection and reinforces awareness of positive forces in your life. Gratitude expressed to others often amplifies both your inner sense of peace and the recipient's sense of value. Small gestures, notes, words, or acts of recognition turn acknowledgement into action. Gratitude becomes both internal practice and outward energy, creating a ripple effect of positivity. Gratitude also changes the relationship with time. By appreciating the present moment, you reduce the tendency to dwell on the past or worry about the future. Most stress arises from attachment to what was lost or anticipation of what may never come. Gratitude grounds you in the now. Recognizing that today holds elements of value cultivates calm and presence. Life becomes less about chasing endless goals and more about participating fully in each moment. Difficult circumstances provide an opportunity to deepen gratitude. Instead of ignoring challenges, look for lessons and growth embedded within them. Even hardship contains aspects to appreciate: strength gained, resilience built, or new perspectives discovered. Gratitude does not eliminate pain, it reframes it as part of the learning process. This approach builds emotional stability because it reduces the tendency to react impulsively to adversity. To integrate gratitude into daily life, create intentional rituals. Begin each day by identifying one thing to be grateful for, or conclude each night by reviewing the positive aspects of your day. Consistency matters more than quantity. Even small, daily acknowledgements compound into profound shifts in mindset. A brief practice repeated over months rewires emotional patterns to prioritize appreciation over complaint. Mindset plays a crucial role in sustaining gratitude. Avoid treating it as a superficial practice or a forced routine. Authentic gratitude emerges from reflection, presence, and intention. The goal is not simply to say, "Thank you," but to feel it fully and allow it to influence perception. When practiced genuinely, gratitude shifts the internal narrative from scarcity to sufficiency. Your perspective naturally becomes calmer, more grounded, and more focused on meaningful experiences. Gratitude also enhances resilience under stress. When challenges arise, the mind trained in appreciation can anchor on what remains positive rather than being overwhelmed by loss or difficulty. A strong sense of gratitude provides a buffer against frustration, anxiety, and despair. It acts as an emotional stabilizer, allowing you to respond to pressure with clarity rather than reaction. This stability is a key factor in building lasting inner peace. Gratitude interacts with self-awareness to deepen understanding of personal growth. Noticing moments of progress, however small, creates reinforcement for effort and perseverance. Recognizing improvement fosters confidence and reduces self-criticism. It allows you to celebrate the journey rather than fixate solely on outcomes. Self-awareness combined with gratitude turns ordinary experiences into meaningful milestones. Another layer of practice involves observing how gratitude influences relationships. When you consistently recognize and value the contributions of others, relationships become stronger, trust deepens, and collaboration improves. Grateful attention encourages empathy, patience, and cooperation. Inner peace grows as external interactions align with a mindset of appreciation rather than criticism. Gratitude transforms both internal and external experiences. Physical health also benefits from gratitude. Studies show that individuals who practice appreciation consistently report lower stress, better sleep, and improved immune function. Calmness of mind translates to calmness of body. A daily focus on what is good reduces tension and promotes a sense of ease. The mind-body connection amplifies the effect of gratitude, turning mental practice into tangible well-being. To prevent gratitude from becoming rote, explore its subtler forms. Appreciate not just objects or people, but qualities, moments, and processes. Notice effort, progress, kindness, and beauty. Observing subtleties trains the mind to perceive richness in ordinary life. The more you notice, the more abundant life appears. This attentiveness strengthens mental focus and encourages emotional steadiness. Gratitude also cultivates patience. Recognizing small successes or positive elements allows you to value incremental growth instead of demanding immediate results. This perspective fosters calm, reduces frustration, and builds perseverance. Life is less about constant striving and more about participation in meaningful progress. Daily practice transforms impatience into acceptance and steadiness. Reflection reinforces gratitude. Periodically reviewing past challenges alongside current blessings highlights progress and resilience. Remembering difficulties you have overcome enhances appreciation for the present moment. Reflection turns gratitude into wisdom because it contextualizes experiences within a larger narrative of growth and survival. This perspective fosters peace by showing that life moves forward and difficulties are temporary. Gratitude develops a mindset of abundance. When the mind consistently notices what exists instead of what is missing, scarcity loses influence. Anxiety and fear often arise from imagined lack, but gratitude reorients perception towards sufficiency. The awareness that enough is already present transforms decision-making, reduces impulsiveness, and increases contentment. A mind anchored in appreciation experiences less internal turbulence. The practice of gratitude also strengthens emotional control. Recognizing positive elements reduces the intensity of negative emotions. Anger, fear, and disappointment lose their dominance when balanced by appreciation. Gratitude acts as a stabilizer, enabling calmer thinking and more intentional action even in difficult circumstances. Inner peace is not the absence of challenges, but the presence of composure cultivated through perspective. Finally, gratitude transforms identity. When appreciation becomes habitual, it shifts your sense of self from someone perpetually chasing satisfaction to someone fully participating in life. This perspective fosters humility, compassion, and patience. The habitual observer of blessings lives with less tension, fewer regrets, and greater calm. Inner peace is the natural outcome of this constant recognition of value. By practicing gratitude daily, life gradually transforms. What once felt ordinary begins to feel extraordinary. Stress is less overwhelming, relationships become more fulfilling, and challenges are met with steadiness. Gratitude is not merely a technique but a lifestyle, a lens through which every experience can be viewed. It builds a mind that notices abundance, a heart that recognizes value, and a spirit capable of calm under all conditions. Daily practice of gratitude creates lasting inner peace because it trains you to focus on what is real, present, and meaningful rather than chasing illusions of what is missing. Chapter 100. Surround yourself with people who uplift your growth. The people you choose to spend your time with shape the direction of your life more than almost anything else. Every conversation, every interaction, and every shared experience influences your thoughts, habits, and mindset. Surrounding yourself with people who uplift your growth is not about seeking approval or avoiding challenge. It's about choosing relationships that inspire, challenge, and encourage you to become the best version of yourself. Life is a reflection of your inner circle. When your environment includes people who embody positivity, resilience, and vision, their energy becomes a catalyst for your own progress. Conversely, if you remain in the company of negativity, complacency, or pessimism, their mindset inevitably seeps into your own. Growth is contagious, just as stagnation is. Start by evaluating the quality of your current relationships. Observe how you feel after spending time with each person in your life. Do you leave conversations feeling energized, inspired, and motivated to act? Or do you feel drained, doubtful, or discouraged? Emotional response is an accurate barometer of influence. People who uplift your growth make you feel capable and accountable. They challenge you to think critically, act deliberately, and expand your limits without belittling or controlling you. Relationships that diminish confidence or feed excuses must be reconsidered. Protecting your time and energy is essential to maintaining progress. Growth-oriented relationships are reciprocal. Surrounding yourself with inspiring individuals is not a one-way benefit. You must also contribute positively. These connections thrive on mutual support, honesty, and encouragement. offer insight, celebrate achievements, and provide constructive feedback. Being part of a network that grows together strengthens character and resilience. It teaches accountability, patience, and empathy while reinforcing your own discipline and perspective. Choosing uplifting people also means holding yourself to a standard that contributes value, not just receiving it passively. Seek people who reflect the qualities you aspire to develop. If your goal is to become more disciplined, spend time with those who practice consistency. If you aim to cultivate wisdom, engage with individuals who think critically and reflect regularly. Their habits, mindset, and attitudes create subtle but powerful influence. Observing them in action teaches lessons that no book or lecture can fully convey. Learning through example accelerates growth because behaviors are absorbed naturally through consistent exposure. Distance yourself from toxic influence. People who are constantly negative, overly critical, or manipulative can sap your motivation and distort your perception. These relationships often mask themselves as closeness or loyalty, but they operate through fear, judgment, or competition. Removing or limiting time spent in such interactions is not cruelty, it is self-preservation. Protecting your mental and emotional space allows you to thrive instead of merely surviving. Growth requires clarity, and clarity is impossible in a polluted emotional environment. Encourage relationships that promote accountability. Growth is accelerated when someone else can provide honest reflection on your actions, goals, and decisions. A trusted individual who asks tough questions, challenges complacency, and highlights blind spots provides invaluable perspective. These are not critics for the sake of criticism. They are mirrors that reflect your potential and your gaps. Accountability partners ensure that ambition transforms into tangible action rather than remaining theoretical. Shared vision strengthens bonds that uplift growth. Surround yourself with people who value learning, improvement, and purpose. Common values create alignment and reduce conflict over trivial distractions. When everyone in a group is oriented toward growth, the collective energy amplifies individual progress. You are inspired to achieve because the standard of excellence is visible and consistent. Momentum builds as the group elevates everyone simultaneously, creating an environment where striving becomes natural rather than forced. Mentorship plays a unique role in growth. Focus circles. A mentor provides insight drawn from experience and perspective that might take you years to acquire alone. Seek mentors who are not just knowledgeable, but also ethical, patient, and supportive. A good mentor challenges your assumptions, encourages risk-taking within reason, and helps you navigate obstacles. Their guidance accelerates learning and reduces unnecessary errors while instilling confidence in decision-making. Mentorship teaches more than tactics, it instills mindset. Be intentional in cultivating relationships. Growth does not happen by accident, it is a deliberate choice. Invest time and energy in people who inspire curiosity, courage, and consistency. Attend environments, communities, or gatherings where ambition, learning, and positivity are prioritized. Engage in dialogue with intention, not merely for comfort or entertainment. Growth thrives in deliberate social contexts where every interaction reinforces progress rather than diminishing it. Recognize the importance of emotional support in uplifting relationships. People who nurture your growth provide reassurance when setbacks occur. They listen without judgment, offer perspective without diminishing effort, and celebrate small victories. Emotional reinforcement sustains motivation and strengthens resilience during challenges. Human connection becomes a foundation for persistence rather than a distraction. Knowing someone believes in your potential reduces the psychological weight of obstacles and enables clearer, calmer decision-making. Challenge is a critical element in relationships that elevate growth. People who uplift you do not merely agree with everything or provide easy comfort. They push boundaries, question assumptions, and provoke critical thinking. Challenge is an essential catalyst for growth because it disrupts complacency and forces action. Avoid relationships that stagnate in agreement or avoidance of discomfort. Personal evolution requires tension and accountability, delivered in a way that respects your dignity and encourages exploration. Diversity enhances the capacity to grow. Engage with people who have different skills, experiences, and perspectives. Exposure to varied approaches broadens understanding, promotes empathy, and strengthens problem-solving skills. Surrounding yourself with a mix of backgrounds and viewpoints prevents tunnel vision and enriches the way you navigate life. Growth is not linear. It expands through encounters that challenge preconceptions and broaden awareness. Celebrate progress with those who uplift you. Sharing achievements, no matter how small, reinforces habits of growth. Recognition fosters motivation, strengthens relationships, and models a standard of excellence. People who encourage your growth understand that celebrating wins is not vanity, it is a reinforcement of effort, consistency, and perseverance. Mutual celebration creates energy that propels further achievement. Boundaries are essential in maintaining growth. Focused circles. Even uplifting people can create tension if interactions become draining or over-demanding. Protect time and energy without guilt. Prioritize relationships that align with values, goals, and well-being. Setting clear boundaries ensures that the energy in your environment remains productive, supportive, and sustainable over time. Growth requires not just access to inspiration but protection from exhaustion. Invest in communication skills within growth-oriented relationships. Clear, honest, and empathetic communication prevents misunderstandings, strengthens trust, and allows for constructive feedback. People who uplift your growth provide insights with clarity and compassion. Likewise, responding with openness enhances mutual respect and deepens the influence of the relationship. Mastery of interaction amplifies the impact of every connection. Observe and learn from the habits and mindsets of those around you. People who are organized, disciplined, and reflective provide silent instruction. Pay attention to how they respond to stress, pursue goals, or treat others. This observational learning complements direct guidance and allows you to adopt strategies that have been tested in real life. Growth is accelerated when you model the behaviors of those you aspire to emulate. Contribute to a culture of positivity and accountability. Surrounding yourself with uplifted individuals is not only about consumption, it is about participation. Be the kind of person whose presence inspires, whose actions encourage, and whose integrity strengthens the group. The influence is mutual, and contribution solidifies the benefits of the environment. Growth multiplies when everyone invests effort, insight, and support. Patience is vital when cultivating a growth-focused circle. Relationships that elevate development require time to nurture, trust to build, and consistency to prove. Avoid the temptation of instant connection or immediate results. Sustainable growth emerges from long-term engagement, shared experiences, and repeated reinforcement of supportive behaviors. Consistency in presence and interaction strengthens influence over time. The ultimate value of surrounding yourself with people who uplift your growth is the amplification of your potential. Their energy, insight, and support accelerate your progress, reduce mistakes, and provide perspective during challenges. Growth becomes less solitary, more dynamic, and more sustainable. Life moves faster, obstacles feel lighter, and possibilities expand. By consciously choosing companions who inspire, challenge, and guide, you invest in an environment that mirrors and magnifies your own ambitions. Surrounding yourself with people who uplift your growth is a deliberate practice that transforms life. It is not about superficial connection or fleeting popularity. It is about cultivating a network that reinforces discipline, resilience, and purpose. Each interaction becomes a step forward, each conversation a lesson, and each shared moment an opportunity for reflection and inspiration. When your circle aligns with your highest vision, personal development becomes inevitable and your life becomes richer, steadier, and more meaningful. Chapter 11. Take consistent small steps toward every meaningful goal. Every meaningful goal in life begins with small steps taken consistently over time. The idea of massive overnight success is a myth that distracts more than it inspires. Real achievement is built gradually, layer by layer, day by day. The human mind often underestimates the power of tiny, deliberate actions, but these are the forces that accumulate into profound results. Consistency transforms effort into habit, habit into skill, and skill into mastery. When you commit to small steps, you remove the overwhelm that often prevents progress and replace it with a tangible path forward that feels achievable. The first principle of consistent action is clarity. Before taking any step, understand precisely what the goal is and why it matters. A meaningful goal is not just a wish, it is specific, measurable, and connected to your values. When your purpose is clear, even the smallest action gains direction and significance. Each step becomes a building block towards something important, rather than a random task. Clarity provides focus, reduces wasted effort, and ensures that your energy compounds in the right direction. Breaking a goal into small steps creates momentum. A large objective can feel intimidating, but dividing it into manageable pieces makes it approachable. Identify the smallest actionable step you can take today, no matter how minor it seems. Completing that step builds confidence and motivates the next. Momentum is cumulative. Each tiny success fuels the next action. Over time, these small steps move you further than occasional massive efforts ever could. Progress is not defined by intensity, but by consistency. Consistency requires discipline and patience. Results rarely appear immediately, and it is easy to lose faith when progress seems slow. Discipline is the commitment to act regardless of immediate reward, while patience is the understanding that significant outcomes require time. By honoring the process of small, steady actions, you develop resilience and trust in your own capacity to follow through. These qualities are essential because every worthwhile goal involves obstacles and delays. Accountability enhances consistency. Sharing your goal with someone who respects your growth increases the likelihood that you will follow through on each step. Accountability provides external reinforcement when motivation dips and reminds you of your commitment. It does not replace personal responsibility, but strengthens it. Knowing that someone else is aware of your effort encourages reliability and cultivates integrity in your actions. Tracking progress is crucial for reinforcing momentum. Even tiny steps deserve acknowledgement because they create cumulative impact. Use a journal, checklist, or visual marker to record your daily efforts. Seeing consistent movement, no matter how small, encourages continued action. Progress tracking also highlights patterns, helps identify obstacles, and motivates perseverance. Small steps gain power when measured, recorded, and celebrated. Another key principle is adaptability. While consistency is vital, rigidity is counterproductive. Evaluate your progress regularly and adjust steps when necessary. Life often presents unexpected challenges or opportunities, and the ability to recalibrate ensures that small actions continue to move you toward meaningful results. Flexibility keeps momentum intact while maintaining alignment with the ultimate goal. A consistent yet adaptable approach prevents stagnation and promotes sustainable growth. Small steps also reduce fear. Large goals often feel overwhelming, and fear can paralyze action. By focusing on one step at a time, you minimize the intimidation factor. Each completed action builds confidence and reduces anxiety about the path ahead. Progress becomes tangible, manageable, and psychologically reinforcing. Fear diminishes when action becomes habitual, turning what once felt impossible into a series of achievable tasks. Routine is the engine of consistency. Embedding small steps into daily or weekly habits ensures that effort occurs without relying on motivation. Motivation fluctuates, but routine provides structure. When a meaningful action becomes part of a regular schedule, it is completed automatically. This repetition strengthens skill, reinforces discipline, and gradually transforms effort into natural behavior. Habits are the vessels that carry small steps into long-term achievement. Reflection amplifies the power of small steps. Take time to review your actions, successes, and setbacks. Reflection turns routine effort into learning and insight. Ask yourself what worked, what could improve, and how each step contributes to the bigger goal. This self-assessment prevents mindless action and ensures that each step moves you purposefully toward meaningful progress. Reflection turns consistency into strategic growth. Mindset plays a critical role in sustaining incremental effort. Embrace patience, resilience, and a long-term perspective. Avoid evaluating success solely by immediate results. Recognize that each small action is an investment in cumulative progress. Over time, these investments yield compound growth, Much like financial interest accumulates steadily, consistent effort builds confidence, competence, and a sense of inevitability that you will reach your goals. Celebrate progress to reinforce motivation. Even small achievements deserve recognition because acknowledgement strengthens commitment. Rewards do not need to be extravagant. Simple reflection, self-encouragement, or sharing progress with someone supportive reinforces the behavior. Celebrating small victories maintains engagement and creates a positive feedback loop that encourages ongoing effort. Visualization enhances the effectiveness of small steps. Imagine the long-term impact of each action and the end result of consistent effort. Visualization strengthens focus, clarifies purpose, and reinforces the connection between action and outcome. When you see the trajectory of progress in your mind, each step gains meaning beyond the immediate task. Motivation becomes embedded in understanding the bigger picture. Consistency in small steps develops resilience to setbacks. Challenges are inevitable, but habitual action reduces the likelihood of discouragement. A person accustomed to moving forward incrementally will recover quickly from obstacles, resuming progress without losing momentum. Resilience emerges from the repetition of effort and the belief that each step, no matter how minor, contributes to eventual success. Collaboration can magnify the impact of small steps. Working alongside others who share similar goals creates accountability, encouragement, and mutual inspiration. Observing the consistency of others motivates your own persistence. Shared effort creates energy, reinforces habits, and provides perspective that enhances problem solving. Collective consistency accelerates growth in ways that individual effort alone cannot achieve. Focus on what is controllable. Not every variable will align perfectly, and waiting for ideal circumstances delays progress. Identify the smallest actionable steps that you can execute immediately. Action in your control compounds over time, while waiting for perfect conditions often leads to stagnation. Growth is built on what you do consistently, not on what you hope for or wish were possible. Discipline and self-trust develop through repeated action. Each small step completed reinforces the belief that you are capable of following through. This confidence becomes self-perpetuating. The more you act consistently, the more reliable you become in your own eyes. Self-trust is an invisible foundation for ambitious goals, and small steps are the bricks that build it. Ultimately, taking consistent small steps transforms goals into reality. Large achievements are rarely the result of sudden breakthroughs. They emerge from relentless, disciplined effort performed over time. Small steps reduce overwhelm, build momentum, and cultivate resilience, patience, and skill. When these steps become habitual, progress becomes inevitable, and meaningful goals transition from aspiration to accomplishment. Consistency is the quiet force that bridges the gap between intention and success, and each small, deliberate action is proof of your commitment to growth. By embracing the power of small, repeated steps, life becomes manageable, intentional, and forward-moving. Every action, no matter how minor, carries the potential to compound into extraordinary results. The path to success is paved not with grand gestures, but with persistent, incremental effort performed with focus, reflection, and integrity. Over time, these consistent steps redefine what is possible, turning meaningful goals into tangible achievements and creating a life shaped by deliberate progress rather than chance or circumstance. Chapter 12. Organize your finances to gain freedom and stability. Organizing your finances is one of the most powerful steps toward gaining freedom and stability in life. Financial disarray creates stress, limits opportunities, and reduces clarity in decision-making. Without a clear understanding of income, expenses, and goals, you remain at the mercy of circumstance rather than the architect of your future. Financial organization is not simply about tracking numbers. It is about creating systems, habits, and boundaries that allow money to serve you instead of controlling you. When approached deliberately, managing finances provides peace of mind, flexibility in choices, and the ability to pursue meaningful goals without constant anxiety. The first step to financial stability is complete awareness of your current situation. List all sources of income, recurring expenses, debts, savings, and investments. Ignoring this reality does not make it disappear, it only delays control. Understanding exactly where your money comes from and where it goes provides the foundation for informed decisions. Awareness allows you to identify waste, spot opportunities, and create a plan that aligns with your values and ambitions. Budgeting is the next essential step. A budget is not a restriction, it is a map that guides your resources toward purpose. Begin by categorizing spending into essentials, savings, investments, and discretionary items. Allocate funds according to priority, ensuring that necessary expenses are covered and long-term goals are funded before indulgences. A clear plan prevents overspending and reduces the mental friction associated with uncertainty. When a budget is structured thoughtfully, it becomes a tool for empowerment rather than a source of guilt. Eliminating unnecessary debt is crucial for financial freedom. Interest payments on high-interest debt drain resources and limit flexibility. Create a strategy to reduce debt systematically, focusing on high-cost obligations first while maintaining minimum payments on others. The process may require temporary sacrifices, but each payment brings measurable progress. Reducing debt relieves stress, frees cash flow, and builds confidence in your ability to manage money effectively. Financial stability grows exponentially as obligations decrease. Saving consistently is essential to long-term security. Even small amounts set aside regularly accumulate into substantial reserves over time. Automate savings to remove reliance on motivation or discipline alone. Emergency funds provide peace of mind and prevent crises from derailing progress. Savings are not optional. They are a buffer that allows you to take calculated risks, pursue opportunities, and navigate uncertainty without fear. A habit of saving strengthens both practical security and psychological resilience. Investing wisely enhances financial growth. Understanding the difference between active income, passive income, and long-term wealth creation is key. Start by educating yourself about options such as stocks, bonds, retirement accounts, or property. Small, informed investments made consistently over time compound into significant financial power. Growth-oriented strategies allow your money to work alongside you, generating returns that exceed what effort alone could achieve. Investments create freedom by decoupling your income from your time. Tracking progress is a critical component of financial organization. Regularly review bank statements, spending patterns, and net worth. Tracking reveals trends, highlights areas for adjustment, and reinforces accountability. Without monitoring, financial plans lose effectiveness. Measurement creates insight, and insight allows for informed action. Reflection on past behavior reinforces discipline and encourages continuous improvement. A habit of tracking transforms financial management from uncertainty into intentional mastery. Financial boundaries are necessary to prevent impulsive decisions. Set clear rules for spending, saving, and investing. These boundaries act as guardrails, protecting your goals from temptation and short-term emotional impulses. Avoiding unnecessary luxuries or high-risk behaviors ensures resources are directed toward long-term stability. Boundaries also reduce stress, clarify priorities, and reinforce consistent action. Self-imposed rules are empowering, not restrictive, because they create a framework within which freedom can flourish. Educating yourself about personal finance strengthens confidence and decision-making. Understand basic concepts such as interest, inflation, budgeting, and investment principles. Knowledge reduces vulnerability to scams, poor decisions, and financial misinformation. When you are informed, you can evaluate options critically and act strategically. Education turns uncertainty into power, enabling you to make choices aligned with your long-term vision rather than reacting to pressure or trend. Plan for both short-term and long-term financial goals. Short-term planning ensures stability, while long-term vision creates freedom. Allocate resources toward immediate necessities, medium-term objectives like purchasing or skill development, and long-term ambitions like retirement or business ventures. Clear prioritization prevents distractions from urgent but unimportant expenses. Purposeful allocation of resources ensures that each financial decision contributes to stability and eventual independence. Developing multiple streams of income strengthens resilience. Relying solely on one source of income creates vulnerability to job loss, market shifts, or unforeseen circumstances. Explore side projects, freelancing, investments, or passive income opportunities. Diversifying income reduces pressure, increases options, and provides flexibility to pursue meaningful goals without fear. A multi-stream strategy empowers you to take action without sacrificing stability. Avoid comparison with others to maintain clarity and contentment. Financial growth is personal and context-dependent. Measuring progress against external benchmarks often leads to unnecessary stress and poor decisions. Focus instead on your own trajectory, resources, and goals. Success is not defined by others' possessions, but by your ability to achieve freedom and stability on your terms. Discipline and self-awareness are more reliable indicators than social comparison. Automation simplifies financial management. Automating payments, savings, and investments reduces the mental load of constant decision-making. Systems ensure that commitments are met even when motivation wanes. Automation transforms intention into action, creating a consistent flow towards stability and growth. Small automated steps repeated over time produce compounding benefits and reduce the likelihood of human error or distraction. Review and adjust your financial plan regularly. Life changes and circumstances evolve. Goals, priorities, and opportunities shift over time, and your financial system must reflect these changes. Regular evaluation ensures continued alignment with your values, needs, and ambitions. Adjustments are not signs of failure but proof of active engagement and control. Flexibility combined with discipline strengthens long-term stability. Mindset is as important as practical steps. Treat money as a tool, not a measure of self-worth. Approach finances with clarity, intentionality, and calmness rather than fear or impulsiveness. Viewing money as a means to freedom and stability fosters rational decisions and reduces emotional spending. A strong mindset transforms financial management from a chore into a purposeful, empowering practice. Accountability strengthens financial discipline. Share your goals or progress with someone trustworthy who respects your growth. Accountability reinforces commitment and highlights blind spots and encourages adherence to plans. When obligations are visible to others, consistency becomes easier. External observation complements internal discipline, creating a layered system of responsibility. Avoid lifestyle inflation as income grows. Increasing spending proportionally with earnings undermines the benefits of financial growth. Maintain focus on savings, investments, and purposeful expenditures. Disciplined allocation of resources preserves stability and accelerates the path to freedom. Simplicity in lifestyle enhances clarity, reduces stress, and allows for strategic decision-making. Strategic risk-taking is essential for long-term financial freedom. While stability is critical, calculated risks in investment, career development, or entrepreneurship provide opportunities for growth. Assess potential outcomes, prepare contingencies, and proceed with informed courage. Risk managed wisely expands options and accelerates wealth creation while preserving essential security. Organizing finances strengthens mental and emotional well-being. Financial chaos creates anxiety, distraction, and a sense of lack. Clear systems and predictable processes reduce stress, allowing focus on personal growth, relationships, and meaningful work. Money management is not merely a practical necessity. It is a foundation for peace of mind and freedom to live intentionally. The ultimate goal of organizing your finances is independence. Independence is the ability to make choices without constant constraint, to pursue meaningful work without fear, and to respond to life with flexibility and confidence. Financial stability provides the framework for this freedom, turning effort into opportunity, decisions into action, and resources into leverage. With clarity, discipline, and consistent systems in place, money becomes a tool rather than a burden, and life becomes more secure, intentional, and fulfilling. By taking control of finances through awareness, budgeting, debt reduction, saving, investing, and disciplined habits, life shifts from reactive to proactive. Each step toward organization builds freedom, confidence, and resilience. Financial clarity allows focus on growth, purpose, and meaningful goals without being weighed down by uncertainty or chaos. Mastery of money creates the stability and flexibility necessary to live intentionally and pursue what truly matters. Chapter 330. Prioritize your health to sustain lifelong energy and focus. Prioritizing your health is the foundation for sustaining energy, focus, and resilience throughout life. Without a strong body and mind, even the clearest goals, the most disciplined plans, and the deepest ambitions become difficult to pursue. Health is not merely the absence of illness, it is the presence of strength, vitality, and mental clarity that enables you to perform consistently at your best. When you treat your body and mind as the most important assets in your life, every action, decision, and relationship is elevated. Investing in health is an investment in freedom, longevity, and the capacity to engage fully in every area of life. Begin by understanding the interconnection between physical and mental well-being. Nutrition, movement, sleep, and mental habits all interact to determine energy levels and focus. Skipping one element undermines the others. For instance, inadequate sleep reduces the effectiveness of exercise, impairs concentration, and affects mood. Poor nutrition diminishes stamina and immune function. Exercise impacts mental sharpness, emotional resilience, and overall energy. Health must be approached holistically, balancing these pillars rather than excelling in one while neglecting the others. Nutrition is the cornerstone of sustained energy. What you fuel your body with determines not only physical performance but also cognitive clarity. Prioritize whole, nutrient-dense foods that provide long-lasting energy instead of temporary spikes from sugar or highly processed items. Hydration is equally critical, as water supports digestion, circulation, and cognitive function. Paying attention to quality, timing, and quantity of food directly impacts stamina, mood, and mental sharpness. A consistent approach to nourishment builds both energy and resilience over time. Exercise is essential for maintaining both physical strength and mental focus. Regular movement improves cardiovascular health, supports muscular endurance, and promotes neuroplasticity in the brain. Physical activity reduces stress, enhances mood, and increases alertness. Incorporate a balance of cardiovascular, strength, and flexibility exercises to develop a body capable of enduring both the demands of daily life and the unexpected challenges that arise. The most sustainable approach combines consistency with variety, ensuring that exercise becomes a lifelong habit rather than a temporary effort. Sleep is non-negotiable for long-term health. Adequate rest restores energy, consolidates memory, and supports emotional regulation. Chronic sleep deprivation erodes focus, weakens the immune system, and impairs decision-making. Create a consistent sleep routine, allowing sufficient time for deep and restorative rest. Prioritizing sleep is not indulgence, it is essential preparation for productivity, resilience, and clarity of thought. A well-rested mind responds to challenges with calm and precision. Mental health and stress management are equally important. Chronic stress erodes physical health, diminishes energy, and reduces focus. Practices such as mindfulness, meditation, or reflective journaling train the mind to respond to stress without being overwhelmed. Mental clarity emerges from the ability to regulate emotions, process challenges, and maintain perspective. Strengthening the mind supports physical health by reducing tension, promoting restorative sleep, and enhancing overall resilience. Routine is critical for sustaining health. Daily rituals create structure, reinforce habits, and prevent neglect of essential practices. A well-designed routine balances exercise, nutrition, rest, and mental care. Consistency, not intensity, is the key to long-term success. Small, repeated actions compound over time, creating a stable foundation for lifelong energy and focus. Habits shape identity. When health becomes habitual, it ceases to require willpower and becomes an automatic source of strength. Listening to your body is a fundamental practice. Pay attention to signals of fatigue, discomfort, or imbalance. Ignoring warning signs often leads to injury, illness, or burnout. Developing body awareness allows you to adjust activity, nutrition, and rest according to need rather than schedule alone. This attentiveness cultivates discipline without recklessness, ensuring sustainable performance over decades rather than weeks or months. Avoiding harmful behaviors is as important as cultivating positive ones. Excessive alcohol, smoking, prolonged inactivity, and poor dietary choices reduce energy, impair focus, and accelerate physical decline. Eliminating these habits protects long-term health and prevents setbacks that require recovery time. Discipline in avoiding harmful behaviors frees mental bandwidth and reinforces commitment to well-being, creating an environment where energy and focus flourish naturally. Supplemental practices enhance resilience. Stretching, mobility exercises, preventive care, and regular medical checkups allow the body to maintain peak performance. Preventive habits prevent minor issues from escalating and provide early detection of potential challenges. Attention to these details builds stability, reduces interruptions caused by illness, and reinforces the principle that proactive care is more effective than reactive correction. Mental stimulation complements physical health. Engaging the mind through learning, reading, problem-solving, or creative activity strengthens cognitive function and focus. A strong mind maintains productivity, adaptability, and emotional resilience. Cognitive exercises enhance neural connections, making decision-making sharper and attention more precise. Health is not just measured by the body, but by the mind's ability to process, adapt, and engage fully with life. Balance between effort and recovery is essential. Overexertion in exercise, work, or mental activity without sufficient rest leads to diminishing returns and potential injury. Recovery is when strength consolidates, energy restores, and focus sharpens. Learning to alternate between action and restoration creates a sustainable cycle that maintains peak performance over the long term. Awareness of limits ensures that energy is preserved rather than squandered. Environment influences health profoundly. Surround yourself with spaces that support movement, relaxation, and mental clarity. Reduce exposure to toxins, clutter, and excessive noise. Curate surroundings that encourage healthy routines, provide natural light, and promote calm. A supportive environment amplifies the effectiveness of daily health practices and reinforces habits without constant conscious effort. Social connections affect energy and well-being. Supportive relationships reduce stress, increase motivation, and provide emotional resilience. Engage with people who encourage healthy habits, provide accountability, and inspire growth. Isolation and toxic interactions diminish focus and vitality. Prioritizing relationships that foster mutual support contributes to a holistic approach to health and reinforces long-term sustainability. Tracking and measurement strengthen commitment. Monitoring sleep, nutrition, exercise, and mental well-being allows for adjustments and reinforcement. Observing patterns reveals what practices produce energy, clarity, and stability. Tracking creates accountability and provides tangible evidence of progress, motivating continued adherence to healthy routines. Data empowers reflection, insight, and intentional evolution of habits. Purposeful movement extends beyond structured exercise. Incorporating walking, standing, or physical activity into daily life prevents stagnation, improves circulation, and sustains energy. Small, consistent physical choices compound to maintain vitality. Movement becomes an integrated part of lifestyle rather than a separate task, reinforcing energy throughout the day. Mindful eating enhances the impact of nutrition. Paying attention to hunger, satiety, and quality of food improves digestion, energy levels, and metabolic function. Conscious choices prevent overeating, reduce cravings, and strengthen the connection between body and mind. Mindful practices reinforce discipline and awareness, turning nutrition into a tool for sustainable focus and performance. Stress resilience improves through exposure to manageable challenges. Training the body and mind to handle discomfort, whether through physical exercise, mental tasks, or disciplined routines, strengthens adaptability. Resilience reduces the disruptive effect of unforeseen events, preserves energy, and sustains focus during pressure. Developing tolerance for controlled stress prepares both body and mind for life's demands. Health is the foundation for every other achievement. Energy supports productivity, focus drives execution, and resilience allows consistency. Without health, goals, relationships, and personal growth are undermined. Prioritizing physical, mental, and emotional well-being ensures that effort is sustainable, decisions are sharp, and life is lived with vitality rather than mere existence. When health is treated as non-negotiable, it becomes a source of freedom. You can pursue goals with clarity, respond to challenges with energy, and engage with life fully. Long-term vitality is not accidental. It is built through deliberate action, consistent habits, and mindful choices. Every meal, step, and night of rest is an investment in the capacity to live intentionally. Prioritizing health transforms energy and focus from fleeting to lifelong, creating the foundation for resilience, productivity, and sustained fulfillment. Chapter 14c. Eliminate distractions that steal your focus and clarity. Distractions are the silent thieves of focus, clarity, and progress. Every time attention shifts to a notification, irrelevant task, or idle thought, momentum stalls and mental energy diminishes. Life becomes fragmented when focus is constantly interrupted and the ability to perform at your highest level is compromised. Eliminating distractions is not simply about removing noise, it is about creating an environment and mindset that preserve attention, protect energy, and allow deliberate action toward meaningful goals. When focus is uninterrupted, clarity emerges naturally, decision-making improves, and productivity accelerates. The first step in eliminating distractions is awareness. Observe what consistently pulls attention away from important tasks. These can be digital notifications, social media, television, unnecessary meetings, or even internal chatter. Identify patterns of distraction without judgment. Awareness is necessary because you cannot control what you do not recognize. Understanding exactly what consumes your time allows you to develop strategies that redirect attention toward meaningful action. Prioritization is critical in maintaining focus. Not every task, message, or idea deserves immediate attention. Establish clear priorities based on importance and impact. When priorities are clear, distractions lose power because you have a standard to measure each interruption against. Every decision about attention becomes deliberate rather than reactive. Clarity and purpose strengthens the mind's ability to resist irrelevant stimuli and channel energy efficiently. Control your environment to reduce unnecessary interruptions. Physical and digital spaces influence attention more than most realize. Declutter workspaces, silence non-essential notifications, and organize digital files for ease of access. Reduce visual and auditory noise to create a setting conducive to concentration. A thoughtfully structured environment supports consistent focus and allows clarity to emerge naturally. Time blocking is an effective method for protecting attention. Allocate specific periods for focused work and guard them as non-negotiable appointments. Inform others of these time commitments to reduce interruptions. Structured blocks of time encourage deep work, where complex tasks are completed efficiently and creativity is maximized. Protecting these intervals cultivates discipline and reinforces the habit of intentional focus. Limit multitasking because dividing attention diminishes both performance and mental clarity. The brain is not designed to operate at peak capacity when switching rapidly between tasks. Focus on one task at a time, complete it fully, and then move to the next. Single tasking allows energy to accumulate, decisions to improve, and errors to decrease. Attention concentrated on one objective yields exponentially better results than scattered effort. Digital detox strategies are essential for modern life. Constant notifications, emails, and social media updates fragment attention and drain energy. Set boundaries for technology use, schedule periods of disconnection, and control when and how digital tools are accessed. Technology should serve your goals, not dominate your focus. Intentional use enhances productivity and clarity while reducing mental fatigue. Develop mental discipline to resist internal distractions. Daydreaming, anxiety, and unproductive thoughts can pull attention away from purposeful action. Practices like meditation, mindfulness, and reflective journaling train the mind to notice these intrusions without acting on them. Mental discipline strengthens the ability to return attention quickly and sustain focus on priorities. A clear mind naturally reduces susceptibility to distraction. Batch similar tasks together to minimize context switching. Grouping activities like emails, calls, or errands reduces cognitive load and allows attention to remain engaged within a specific mode of thinking. Context switching is mentally costly and fragments productivity. Batching creates rhythm, efficiency, and continuity, preserving energy for high-impact work. Set clear boundaries with others. Interruptions from colleagues, family, or friends can derail focus if not managed. Communicate needs, define expectations, and protect time without guilt. Relationships thrive when boundaries are clear and attention remains directed toward tasks that drive meaningful results. Protecting focus is a demonstration of commitment to personal growth and responsibility. Eliminate unnecessary commitments that dilute energy. Saying yes to everything divides attention and prevents mastery. Evaluate every obligation against long-term goals and decline what does not align. Each refusal is an investment in focus, clarity, and sustained performance. Overcommitment creates mental clutter and prevents the mind from engaging deeply with high-priority objectives. Use reminders and tools to support focus rather than replace discipline. Productivity apps, timers, and checklists can guide attention, but they cannot substitute for conscious choice. Tools are effective when integrated into intentional habits that prioritize focus and clarity. Mindless reliance on external aids without commitment to discipline creates the illusion of productivity without meaningful progress. Create rituals that signal focus and prepare the mind for deep work. Rituals reduce decision fatigue, ease transitions into productive states, and condition attention. Examples include arranging the workspace, reviewing daily priorities, or taking a brief moment of reflection before starting tasks. Rituals reinforce mental readiness and establish a consistent environment for sustained clarity. Reflect regularly on how attention is spent. Review daily activities, identify distractions, and assess alignment with goals. Reflection allows the mind to adjust strategies, reinforce productive habits, and recognize patterns that undermine focus. Continuous evaluation ensures that effort is directed efficiently and distractions are systematically minimized. Energy management complements focus. Distractions are more tempting when mental or physical energy is low. Prioritize sleep, nutrition, movement, and restorative practices to maintain peak capacity for attention. High energy levels enhance resilience against interruptions and improve decision-making, concentration, and problem-solving. Focus is easier to sustain when the body and mind are well-fueled. Practice saying no proactively. Each refusal is a conscious choice to protect focus. Saying no to low-value tasks, distractions, or requests that do not align with priorities prevents energy leakage. Boundaries, discipline, and assertiveness reinforce clarity of purpose and preserve momentum toward meaningful objectives. Recognize that clarity is cultivated through simplicity. Reduce unnecessary inputs, commitments, and mental clutter. Streamline processes, minimize distractions, and focus on essentials. Simplification creates space for deep thought, creativity, and deliberate action. Mental clarity emerges when external noise is minimized and attention is concentrated on what truly matters. Accountability strengthens attention management. Share priorities and progress with trusted individuals who can reinforce focus and provide gentle correction when distractions arise. External accountability motivates discipline, reinforces routines, and encourages consistent action. A support system aligned with your goals magnifies the ability to resist interruptions and maintain mental clarity. Develop mindfulness in daily activities. Being present in the moment enhances attention, reduces susceptibility to distraction, and improves cognitive processing. Mindfulness trains the brain to notice interruptions, refocus quickly, and sustain engagement with tasks that matter. The ability to remain fully aware in the present is essential for achieving clarity, maintaining productivity, and cultivating meaningful results. Eliminating distractions is not a one-time effort, it is a continuous practice. New sources of interruption emerge regularly, requiring vigilance, adjustment, and adaptation. Treat focus as a skill to be trained and protected. Each deliberate action to remove distraction strengthens mental resilience, enhances clarity, and accelerates progress toward meaningful goals. Focus is both a habit and a state of mind that grows stronger through consistent attention management. Sustained clarity amplifies all areas of life. Decisions become more deliberate, tasks are executed efficiently, and energy is preserved for meaningful pursuits. When distractions are systematically eliminated, the mind operates with precision, priorities are clear, and growth becomes inevitable. Protecting focus and clarity is not merely about productivity, it is about creating the mental space necessary for purposeful living, disciplined action, and lasting achievement. Chapter 5: Set clear boundaries that protect your peace and values. Setting clear boundaries is essential for preserving peace, maintaining values, and creating a life that aligns with your priorities. Boundaries are not barriers meant to isolate. They are protective structures that define what is acceptable, what drains energy, and what supports growth. Without boundaries, people and circumstances can encroach on your time, attention, and emotional well-being, leaving you exhausted, reactive, and disconnected from your purpose. Establishing boundaries allows you to take ownership of your life, ensuring that every interaction, commitment, and choice reflects your values and supports your long-term vision. The first step in boundary setting is self-awareness. Understand your personal limits, priorities, and core values. Identify what behaviors, requests, or environments compromise your peace or distract from meaningful goals. Clarity about your own needs and principles provides a foundation for communicating boundaries effectively. Without self-knowledge, boundaries become inconsistent, ineffective, and easy to violate. Recognizing what is non-negotiable empowers deliberate choices in both professional and personal contexts. Communicating boundaries clearly is critical. Ambiguity invites misunderstandings and violations. Express expectations calmly, confidently, and respectfully. State what you will accept, what you will decline, and the reasoning behind your decisions when necessary. Clear communication reduces conflict, builds mutual understanding, and establishes respect. Boundaries are most effective when others know them and recognize the consistency with which they are enforced. Consistency is the backbone of effective boundaries. Setting limits occasionally without following through signals that your boundaries are negotiable. Consistency builds respect, reinforces your values, and strengthens personal authority. When boundaries are maintained reliably, people learn to honor them, and your peace becomes protected by predictable structure rather than constant negotiation. Repeated enforcement trains both yourself and others to uphold standards of behavior that support your well-being. Boundaries protect mental and emotional energy. People often overcommit, accommodate unreasonable demands, or tolerate toxic behavior in an effort to please others. Without clear limits, energy is depleted, focus is lost, and stress accumulates. By defining what is acceptable and refusing what undermines your stability, you preserve resources for meaningful work, relationships, and personal growth. Protecting energy is not selfish, it is essential for sustained effectiveness and resilience. Prioritize boundaries around time. Time is finite, and how it is spent determines the trajectory of your life. Decide which activities, people, and tasks are worth your attention. Decline interruptions, delegating tasks when appropriate, and avoid overcommitment. Scheduling time for rest, reflection, and important projects ensures balance. Time boundaries reinforce focus, discipline, and the capacity to pursue what matters most without distraction or regret. Boundaries also safeguard emotional health. Avoid tolerating manipulation, criticism, or disrespect that undermines self-worth. Emotional boundaries involve recognizing when interactions are harmful and taking action to limit exposure. This may involve disengaging from toxic conversations, distancing from harmful relationships, or confronting issues directly. Protecting emotional space cultivates clarity, resilience, and the ability to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Physical boundaries are equally important. Personal space, privacy, and bodily autonomy require respect from others. Clearly define physical limits and communicate them when necessary. Maintaining control over your environment reduces stress, enhances focus, and reinforces personal dignity. Boundaries in the physical realm protect both comfort and mental clarity, contributing to overall stability and well-being. Digital boundaries are critical in modern life. Social media, messaging apps, and email can consume attention, increase stress, and create pressure to respond immediately. Decide when and how technology will be used, and enforce limits consistently. Muting notifications, scheduling device-free time, and curating information sources maintain mental clarity and preserve focus. Digital boundaries prevent external noise from encroaching on peace and intentional living. Boundaries encourage healthier relationships. By setting and enforcing limits, interactions become more respectful, equitable, and meaningful. Others are more likely to treat you with integrity when they understand your expectations. Boundaries create mutual respect, reduce resentment, and encourage open communication. They provide structure that allows relationships to thrive rather than drain, ensuring that connections enhance rather than compromise your well-being. Learn to say no without guilt. Refusing requests, invitations, or tasks that violate your boundaries is not selfish, it is an assertion of your priorities. Each no is an act of self-respect and a reinforcement of your values. Saying no preserves space for what truly matters and communicates clarity to others. Repeated practice strengthens confidence in boundary enforcement and reduces the internal conflict associated with overextension. Boundaries support personal growth and focus. By eliminating distractions, limiting energy, draining interactions, and clarifying priorities, boundaries create space for development, learning, and disciplined action. When focus is protected, effort becomes intentional, and results are amplified. Boundaries are tools that transform scattered energy into directed progress, allowing meaningful goals to be pursued with clarity and efficiency. Adapt boundaries as circumstances evolve. Life changes, priorities shift, and new challenges emerge. Reassess limits periodically to ensure alignment with current goals, values, and needs. Flexible boundaries maintain relevance without compromising core principles. Adjusting limits intentionally preserves protection while accommodating growth, responsibility, and evolving relationships. Boundaries also foster self-respect and self-trust. When you honor your own limits, you reinforce the belief that your needs and values matter. Each enforced boundary strengthens confidence, reduces susceptibility to manipulation, and enhances emotional resilience. Self-trust grows when actions consistently reflect principles, creating a stable foundation for decision-making and personal discipline. Boundaries reduce overwhelm. Without clear limits, demands from multiple directions compete for attention, creating stress and indecision. Establishing boundaries streamlines focus, clarifies priorities, and reduces the mental burden of constant negotiation. Simplifying interactions and commitments creates mental space for creativity, problem-solving, and consistent progress. Peace is cultivated when boundaries transform chaos into order. Modeling boundaries sets an example for others. Demonstrating respect for your own limits encourages those around you to do the same. Healthy boundaries create a culture of respect, responsibility, and accountability. Observing consistent enforcement teaches others that values and peace are worthy of protection, promoting positive dynamics in both personal and professional contexts. Boundaries protect long-term well-being. Immediate discomfort from saying no or enforcing limits is outweighed by the cumulative benefits of preserved energy, focus, and integrity. Short-term tension is preferable to chronic stress, burnout, or compromised values. Boundaries are investments in sustainable living, mental clarity, and the freedom to act intentionally rather than reactively. Ultimately, clear boundaries create a framework for intentional living. They define how you engage with others, allocate time, protect energy, and maintain integrity. Boundaries transform life from reactive chaos into deliberate design, ensuring that your choices reflect values, priorities, and long-term goals. Every enforced limit preserves peace, strengthens discipline, and reinforces the principles necessary for a meaningful, focused, and resilient life. By understanding personal limits, communicating them confidently, enforcing them consistently, and adapting them as necessary, boundaries protect what matters most. They allow attention, energy, and focus to be directed toward meaningful pursuits, relationships, and personal growth. Setting boundaries is not an act of avoidance, it is a commitment to self-respect, clarity, and deliberate action. When peace and values are protected, life becomes intentional, stable, and aligned with what truly matters. Chapter 16's in Reflect each night to learn from your daily actions. Reflecting each night on daily actions is one of the most powerful habits for growth, clarity, and long-term improvement. The day moves fast, filled with decisions, interactions, successes, and mistakes. Without reflection, lessons are easily lost, patterns go unnoticed, and opportunities to improve slip away. Taking dedicated time each night to review your actions allows insight to emerge, strengthens self-awareness, and equips you to make better choices tomorrow. Reflection is not passive, It is an active process that turns experience into wisdom, routine into intentionality, and effort into measurable progress. The first step in nightly reflection is creating a consistent ritual. Set aside a specific time each evening, even if just 10 to 15 minutes, to review your day thoughtfully. Consistency transforms reflection from an occasional activity into a habit that shapes long-term behavior. A ritual signals to the mind that this time is dedicated to self-assessment, learning, and growth. Over time, the practice becomes automatic, enhancing awareness and mental clarity without requiring extra effort. Start by reviewing your actions objectively. Examine what you did well and what could have been improved. Avoid judgment or self-criticism that is unproductive. Instead, focus on observation and learning. Objective reflection creates clarity, allowing you to identify patterns, strengths, and areas that require attention. This awareness is the foundation for deliberate improvement and informed decision-making. Consider the outcomes of your decisions throughout the day. Reflect on what led to success, what hindered progress, and what unexpected consequences emerged. Understanding cause and effect in your actions develops insight into personal habits, behaviors, and thought processes. This clarity allows for adjustments that are realistic, targeted, and effective, strengthening your ability to respond intentionally in the future. Ask key questions during reflection to extract value from each day. What did I accomplish that aligns with my goals? Where did I fall short and why? What patterns or habits are helping or hindering my progress? How did my mindset, discipline, or focus influence outcomes? Honest answers to these questions provide actionable insights that guide improvements. Reflection transforms daily experience into strategic knowledge, rather than letting it remain ephemeral. Documenting reflections amplifies their impact. Writing thoughts in a journal or digital note creates a record to review over time. Tracking progress, insights, and lessons allows patterns to emerge and growth to be measured. Written reflection reinforces learning, enhances accountability, and solidifies the connection between action and result. It also serves as a resource to revisit during challenging periods, reminding you of past victories and the effectiveness of consistent effort. Celebrate achievements, even small ones. Reflection is not only about identifying mistakes or areas for growth, it is also about recognizing progress and reinforcing positive behaviors. Acknowledging accomplishments strengthens confidence, motivation, and momentum. Celebrating progress creates a positive feedback loop that encourages continued commitment to personal goals and daily improvement. Analyze mistakes without self-criticism. Every error carries insight if examined thoughtfully. Ask what led to the mistake, how it can be avoided in the future, and what alternative approaches could have produced better outcomes. Turning mistakes into learning opportunities reduces fear of failure, strengthens resilience, and cultivates a growth mindset. Reflection ensures that errors are stepping stones rather than setbacks. Evaluate interactions with others. Consider how communication, empathy, and collaboration influenced outcomes. Did your actions support productive relationships or create unnecessary conflict? Social reflection improves emotional intelligence, interpersonal skills, and decision-making. Understanding how behavior affects others allows for more deliberate, respectful, and effective engagement in future interactions. Assess alignment with goals and values. Reflection is most powerful when it connects daily actions to long-term purpose. Ask whether today's efforts moved you closer to meaningful objectives or if energy was diverted to distractions. Alignment ensures that daily choices accumulate toward intentional outcomes rather than dissipating in unplanned activity. Consistent review creates awareness of how habits, priorities, and decisions interconnect with larger life ambitions. Identify patterns that require adjustment. Reflection allows trends, habits, and recurring obstacles to surface. Recognizing these patterns creates the opportunity for deliberate intervention. Whether it involves time management, focus, emotional response, or productivity strategies, insight gained from nightly review informs actionable changes that compound over time. Patterns illuminate the areas where conscious effort yields the most impact. Incorporate gratitude into reflection, acknowledging positive experiences, support from others, and personal strengths enhances resilience and mental well-being. Gratitude reinforces a balanced perspective, reducing the tendency to dwell on failures while emphasizing lessons learned. Reflection combined with gratitude cultivates emotional stability, optimism, and motivation for continued growth. Plan next steps based on insights gained. Reflection is incomplete without translating observation into action. Identify specific, achievable adjustments for tomorrow that address lessons learned today. This bridges the gap between insight and improvement, ensuring that reflection drives real, world change rather than remaining a passive exercise. Each night becomes a preparation for a more intentional, productive, and focused day. Reflection strengthens discipline and self-trust. Committing to nightly review builds consistency, accountability, and personal responsibility. Over time, this habit reinforces belief in your ability to observe yourself honestly, learn from experience, and make meaningful changes. Self-trust grows when actions align with awareness and intention, creating a sense of control over life and progress. Use reflection to reinforce mental clarity and focus. By reviewing the day intentionally, you separate what matters from what is trivial. Reflection creates mental space, reduces clutter, and enhances decision-making for the future. A clear mind allows priorities to emerge naturally, making each choice deliberate and purposeful rather than reactionary or scattered. Reflection also strengthens problem-solving. Reviewing challenges from multiple angles enables identification of alternative strategies, overlooked solutions, and improvements in approach. By analyzing daily obstacles systematically, you develop the ability to navigate future challenges efficiently and with confidence. Reflection transforms each experience into preparation for success rather than repetition of past mistakes. Consider long-term impact. Reflection is most effective when you connect daily actions to future outcomes. Ask whether today's behavior builds the habits, skills, and mindset needed for long-term achievement. Each action compounds over time, and nightly review allows course correction before patterns solidify. Linking present behavior to future results strengthens motivation and purpose. Reflection builds emotional intelligence. Observing emotional responses, triggers, and interactions enhances self-awareness. Understanding how feelings influence decisions improves regulation, communication, and relationships. Emotional reflection ensures that responses are deliberate rather than impulsive, fostering stability and consistency in both personal and professional contexts. Integrate reflection with goal tracking. Compare outcomes, actions, and progress against established objectives. This integration highlights successes, uncovers inefficiencies, and guides adjustments for future effort. Reflection becomes actionable when it directly informs planning and execution for tomorrow, creating a continuous cycle of improvement and alignment. Consistency in nightly reflection compounds over time. Daily practice reinforces habits of awareness, accountability, and learning. Small insights accumulate, resulting in significant personal growth, increased clarity, and enhanced capacity for decision-making. The act of nightly review transforms experience into structured knowledge, habits into strategies, and effort into results. By dedicating time each night to reflect on your actions, choices, and interactions, life becomes increasingly intentional and deliberate. Reflection strengthens focus, cultivates insight, improves discipline, and nurtures emotional intelligence. Each review of the day illuminates lessons, reinforces alignment with goals, and guides adjustments that create consistent growth. Over time, nightly reflection transforms not just daily performance but overall trajectory, allowing life to be navigated with clarity, purpose, and increasingly effective action. Chapter 17D. Keep promises to yourself to build lasting self-trust. Keeping promises to yourself is one of the most powerful ways to build self-trust, strengthen discipline, and create a life of integrity. When you commit to something internally and follow through, you reinforce the belief that you are reliable, capable, and accountable. Conversely, breaking promises to yourself erodes confidence, weakens resolve, and diminishes clarity about your ability to achieve goals. Life is shaped less by external validation than by the consistency with which you honor your own word. Each promise kept becomes a building block for character, resilience, and long-term personal growth. The first step is identifying meaningful promises that align with your values and long-term objectives. Arbitrary or superficial commitments do not cultivate real trust. Promises must be intentional, realistic, and significant enough that keeping them positively impacts your growth, health, or focus. Consider commitments like daily exercise, finishing important projects, practicing mindfulness, or developing a skill. Intentional promises create purpose and give structure to your efforts, turning small actions into cumulative progress. Clarity is essential when making a promise to yourself. Define exactly what you intend to do, when you will do it, and the criteria for fulfillment. Ambiguity allows procrastination, rationalization, and inconsistency. A clear promise is measurable and actionable, removing guesswork and making accountability possible. Precision in commitments strengthens focus and ensures that fulfillment is unmistakable. Start with small promises to build momentum. Consistency in minor commitments lays the foundation for larger, more ambitious ones. Fulfilling small promises daily develops reliability and reinforces the habit of follow-through. Over time, these successes compound, building confidence and making it easier to honor bigger promises that require greater discipline and effort. Small, consistent actions signal that you are capable of self-governance and can be trusted by yourself. Accountability to yourself is key. Track your promises through journaling, checklists, or digital reminders. Observing progress objectively creates responsibility and reinforces commitment. External validation is unnecessary. Internal consistency is what cultivates trust. When the mind knows that a promise will be recorded and measured, motivation and focus increase. Tracking also allows you to identify obstacles or patterns that hinder follow-through, providing insight for improvement. Overcoming resistance is part of the process. There will always be moments when following through feels difficult, inconvenient, or uncomfortable. These are the critical moments that determine whether self-trust grows or diminishes. Discipline is strengthened by action in the face of resistance, and self-respect is reinforced every time you honor a promise despite temporary discomfort. Delayed gratification in service of self-trust builds long-term resilience and capability. Align promises with your values. A promise that contradicts your principles creates internal conflict and reduces motivation. When commitments are grounded in what matters most to you, fulfillment becomes rewarding and meaningful rather than burdensome. Value-aligned promises integrate personal integrity with action, ensuring that each fulfilled commitment contributes to a coherent, purpose-driven life. Recognize that mistakes and lapses may occur, but they do not define your capacity for self-trust. When a promise is broken, analyze the cause, learn from it, and recommit. Avoid excuses or blame, and treat the lapse as feedback rather than failure. Resilience grows from the ability to recover and reinforce commitments after setbacks. The strength of self-trust is measured not by perfection, but by persistence and consistency over time. Consistency strengthens neural pathways that support habit formation. Each promise kept reinforces the belief that you can rely on yourself, creating a psychological and physiological pattern of reliability. Habits are built through repetition, and promises serve as the framework around which sustainable habits are formed. Over time, discipline becomes instinctive, requiring less mental struggle to maintain. Celebrate fulfillment to reinforce behavior. Acknowledge each promise you keep, no matter how small. Recognition reinforces motivation, provides positive feedback, and strengthens the psychological connection between commitment and reward. Positive reinforcement solidifies the neural pathways associated with reliability, making follow-through more natural and automatic in future commitments. Reflect regularly on your promises. Consider how fulfilling commitments impacts your confidence, focus, and progress toward goals. Reflection reveals patterns, highlights successes, and clarifies where adjustments are needed. Nightly or weekly review of promises allows insights to be applied proactively, strengthening the consistency and quality of self-commitment. Reflection transforms routine follow-through into continuous self-improvement. Avoid overcommitting or making unrealistic promises. Setting too many or overly ambitious commitments creates stress and increases the likelihood of failure. Start with achievable goals and scale commitments as capacity and discipline grow. Realistic promises build confidence and sustain motivation, reinforcing trust in yourself rather than undermining it through repeated failure. Strategic selection of promises ensures sustainable progress and steady reinforcement of integrity. Incorporate accountability structures. While self-trust is internal, external support can amplify consistency. Share meaningful commitments with mentors, peers, or supportive individuals who encourage follow-through without controlling outcomes. External awareness provides gentle reinforcement, accountability, and additional motivation, complementing internal discipline. Use visualization to reinforce commitment. Mentally rehearsing the process of fulfilling a promise strengthens readiness and reduces hesitation. Visualizing obstacles and successful execution enhances confidence and prepares the mind to act deliberately. Mental rehearsal primes action and reinforces the belief that promises can be kept, increasing the likelihood of consistent follow-through. Boundaries support promise keeping. Protect time, energy, and focus to prevent external demands from interfering with commitments. Clearly defining limits around work, social obligations, and digital distractions ensures that promises to yourself receive priority and attention. Boundaries reinforce discipline and create a protected space in which personal integrity can flourish. Link promises to purpose. Understanding why each commitment matters enhances motivation and resilience. When a promise contributes to a larger vision, personal growth, or meaningful achievement, the act of keeping it becomes inherently rewarding. Connection to purpose transforms discipline into intentional action and reinforces trust in your ability to navigate challenges consistently. Develop self-compassion alongside accountability. Honoring promises requires both discipline and a balanced mindset. Treat yourself with respect, patience, and understanding while maintaining commitment. Compassion reduces fear of failure, encourages persistence, and fosters a sustainable approach to growth. Balance between firmness and kindness creates resilience and enduring self-trust. Integrate small rituals that support promises. Consistent cues, reminders, or environmental arrangements can facilitate follow-through. For instance, leaving exercise equipment in plain sight or scheduling recurring focused work sessions reduces friction and increases consistency. Strategic structuring of environment and routine strengthens the likelihood that promises are fulfilled without requiring constant mental effort. Recognize cumulative impact. Each promise kept contributes incrementally to trust, confidence, and personal effectiveness. Over time, consistent follow-through transforms identity, reinforcing the belief that you are reliable, disciplined, and capable. Self-trust becomes self-reinforcing, creating a foundation for higher achievement, better decision-making, and consistent personal growth. Promises to yourself are the cornerstone of integrity. They connect intention with action, belief with behavior, and goals with execution. Every fulfilled commitment reinforces the notion that you can rely on yourself, creating confidence, clarity, and resilience that permeate all areas of life. Keeping promises cultivates a life of reliability, strengthens character, and ensures that personal potential is realized through consistent, deliberate action. By committing thoughtfully, acting consistently, reflecting on progress, and adjusting when necessary, self-trust grows steadily. It becomes a guiding principle that informs decisions, anchors discipline, and sustains motivation. Each promise kept builds momentum, shaping a life defined by intentionality, reliability, and alignment with values. Consistency in honoring yourself transforms effort into achievement, action into identity, and discipline into a lifelong foundation for growth and fulfillment. Chapter 18. Face discomfort regularly to grow stronger and wiser. Facing discomfort regularly is one of the most powerful ways to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient in life. Avoiding pain, challenge, or unease may feel safe in the short term, but it limits potential, stalls growth, and keeps life within the boundaries of comfort rather than possibility. Discomfort is not an enemy, it is a signal that growth is occurring, a teacher revealing areas of weakness, and an opportunity to expand capability. Each time discomfort is faced intentionally, the mind and body adapt, resilience is strengthened, and wisdom is earned through experience rather than theory. The first step in embracing discomfort is recognition. Identify situations, habits, or choices that provoke resistance, fear, or anxiety. These moments are often the exact experiences that shape character, improve skill, and cultivate discipline. Awareness allows deliberate engagement rather than avoidance. Avoiding discomfort may provide temporary relief, but it perpetuates stagnation and prevents the development of courage, patience, and endurance. Start small to build confidence. Facing discomfort does not require extreme exposure immediately. Begin with manageable challenges that stretch the mind, body, or emotions just beyond current limits. This could involve physical exertion, learning a difficult skill, having difficult conversations, or confronting personal fears. Incremental exposure strengthens resilience gradually, establishing the foundation for tackling increasingly demanding challenges over time. Understand the value of discomfort. Growth rarely occurs within comfort zones because stability does not require adaptation or effort. Discomfort stimulates learning, builds strength, and develops problem-solving abilities. Each moment of unease is an opportunity to practice patience, perseverance, and self-mastery. Recognizing that discomfort is productive transforms fear and resistance into motivation and curiosity. Mental preparation is crucial. Approach discomfort with intention and focus rather than avoidance or dread. Visualize scenarios, anticipate challenges, and plan responses. Mental rehearsal reduces the intensity of fear, increases confidence, and provides clarity on the actions needed to endure or overcome difficulty. Preparation ensures that discomfort is approached strategically rather than haphazardly. Consistency matters more than intensity. Facing discomfort regularly, even in small doses, has greater impact than sporadic exposure to extreme challenges. Daily practice strengthens tolerance, trains emotional and physical systems, and normalizes the experience of unease. Over time, the mind adapts, fear diminishes, and confidence in handling adversity increases substantially. Discomfort develops emotional resilience. Experiencing and enduring challenging circumstances teaches the mind to regulate stress, manage fear, and respond deliberately rather than react impulsively. Emotional strength allows clarity of thought under pressure and reduces vulnerability to setbacks. Regular exposure to difficulty trains the mind to remain grounded, composed, and focused even when circumstances are adverse or unpredictable. Physical challenges cultivate discipline and capability. Pushing physical boundaries through exercise, endurance, or skill development forces adaptation and growth. Muscles, stamina, and coordination improve not through ease, but through strain, repetition, and overcoming temporary pain. Physical resilience enhances mental fortitude, demonstrating that consistent effort in the face of discomfort produces measurable improvement and capability. Intellectual growth also benefits from discomfort. Engaging with ideas, tasks, or conversations that challenge beliefs, knowledge, or assumptions stretches the mind. Learning under pressure or tackling difficult concepts develops problem-solving, adaptability, and insight. Intellectual discomfort encourages curiosity, critical thinking, and innovation. Avoiding challenging mental work limits potential, while consistent engagement strengthens capability and understanding. Discomfort fosters humility and perspective. Facing situations that stretch capacity or expose limitations teaches patience, empathy, and self-awareness. Challenges reveal areas for growth and illuminate the effort required for mastery. Humility gained through struggle enhances relationships, decision-making, and the capacity to navigate life with balance and wisdom. Accountability enhances the benefits of discomfort. Committing to difficult tasks or facing fear in the presence of others increases responsibility and reinforces follow-through. Accountability adds structure, motivation, and external reinforcement, ensuring that avoidance is minimized and the growth potential of discomfort is realized. Collaboration in challenge strengthens social bonds and encourages collective resilience. Reflection amplifies lessons learned from discomfort. After facing challenges, evaluate what was difficult, what strategies were effective, and what could be improved. Reflecting consolidates knowledge, reinforces adaptive behaviors, and converts experiences into wisdom. Reflection transforms temporary difficulty into long-term strength and equips you to face future discomfort with greater skill and confidence. Discomfort strengthens decision-making under pressure. Encountering challenging situations teaches the mind to assess risks, weigh options, and act decisively. Experience with unease reduces hesitation, promotes clarity, and builds confidence in judgment. Decisions made under pressure become more consistent, deliberate, and effective with repeated exposure to challenging circumstances. Discomfort encourages creativity and problem-solving. When routine solutions fail, discomfort pushes the mind to innovate, adapt, and explore alternatives. Challenges expand the repertoire of strategies, increase flexibility, and enhance the ability to think critically under stress. Regular engagement with difficulty fosters resourcefulness and the ability to navigate complex or ambiguous situations. Facing social discomfort builds confidence and interpersonal strength. Difficult conversations, confrontation of personal fears, or challenging group dynamics train communication, empathy, and assertiveness. Social discomfort often produces growth in emotional intelligence, self-expression, and relationship navigation. Avoidance of these situations preserves short-term ease but limits influence, respect, and personal authority. Overcoming discomfort teaches the value of perseverance. Success often requires enduring resistance, fatigue, or temporary failure. Repeated exposure strengthens patience, determination, and the ability to persist when results are not immediate. Perseverance cultivated through discomfort establishes a foundation for long-term achievement in every area of life. Discomfort strengthens adaptability. Life is inherently uncertain, and challenges are inevitable. Training the mind and body to endure unease develops flexibility, resilience, and resourcefulness. Adaptive capacity allows smooth navigation through change, reduces fear of the unknown, and enhances problem-solving under novel circumstances. Gratitude emerges from facing discomfort. The ability to endure challenge increases appreciation for ease, progress, and achievement. Struggle highlights growth and resilience, reinforcing perspective and motivation. Recognizing the value of difficulty fosters humility, satisfaction, and a deeper sense of purpose in both achievement and daily effort. Discomfort sharpens focus and presence. When confronted with difficulty, attention becomes concentrated, awareness heightens, and priorities clarify. Enduring unease teaches the mind to eliminate distractions, act deliberately, and value the present moment. Regular exposure trains attention to remain steady under pressure, strengthening both productivity and emotional stability. Facing discomfort builds courage. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the ability to act despite it. Each encounter with discomfort reinforces confidence in personal capability, reduces avoidance tendencies, and strengthens resolve. Courage cultivated through consistent challenge equips the mind to confront future adversity with composure and clarity. Incorporating discomfort into life deliberately transforms potential into strength. Avoidance may protect comfort temporarily but limits achievement, insight, and self-mastery. Intentional exposure to challenging situations, physical strain, emotional tension, and intellectual difficulty fosters resilience, sharpens judgment, and creates wisdom that is earned rather than assumed. Growth emerges at the edge of discomfort, and repeated engagement turns fear into skill, pain into knowledge, and challenge into opportunity. By embracing discomfort regularly, life becomes a practice of adaptation, learning, and deliberate effort. Strength is built in the moments that test endurance, patience, and willpower. Wisdom develops when obstacles are analyzed, reflected upon, and integrated into future action. Each challenge faced intentionally strengthens character, enhances capability, and prepares the mind and body to navigate life with resilience, clarity, and mastery. Chapter 19: Serve others genuinely to find deeper life fulfillment. Serving others genuinely is one of the most powerful ways to create meaning, cultivate connection, and experience profound life fulfillment. True service is not motivated by recognition, obligation, or reward, but by the sincere desire to contribute to someone else's well-being. When service comes from the heart, it fosters empathy, compassion, and perspective, allowing life to extend beyond personal concerns and achievements. Engaging in genuine acts of service transforms relationships, strengthens community, and nurtures a sense of purpose that cannot be achieved through self-interest alone. The first step is cultivating awareness of the needs around you. Observe where help, guidance, or support can make a real difference. Listening attentively and noticing subtle cues allows you to understand what others truly require rather than acting on assumptions. Awareness ensures that service is meaningful and impactful rather than superficial or performative. Service that addresses genuine needs creates value and strengthens trust, empathy, and connection. Act with intention. Approach every act of service with clarity about purpose and desired impact. Intention shapes behavior and ensures that effort is directed effectively. Random or thoughtless acts may bring temporary satisfaction, but do not create lasting fulfillment. When service is intentional, every action aligns with personal values, cultivates consistency, and reinforces a life committed to positive contribution. Empathy is essential. Understanding and feeling the experiences of others allows for service that is sensitive, appropriate, and impactful. Empathy strengthens connection, deepens understanding, and guides action in ways that meet both practical and emotional needs. The capacity to empathize transforms simple actions into meaningful gestures that resonate deeply with those receiving support. Serve without expectation of return. Fulfillment comes from the act itself rather than from recognition, praise, or reward. Service is most authentic when it is detached from outcomes or external validation. Letting go of expectations reduces resentment, fosters generosity, and cultivates a sense of inner satisfaction. True service is selfless, enriching both giver and recipient through the experience itself. Small, consistent acts create significant impact over time. Service does not always require grand gestures. Daily acts of kindness, attention, and support compound to produce lasting positive effects. A single thoughtful action repeated regularly can transform relationships, influence communities, and cultivate a personal sense of contribution and satisfaction. Consistency in service reflects discipline, care, and a life oriented toward meaningful engagement. Practice active listening. Serving others effectively requires understanding their perspective fully. Listening attentively, asking questions, and withholding judgment fosters trust, clarity, and emotional connection. Active listening allows you to respond thoughtfully, ensuring that efforts meet the needs of others and demonstrate genuine concern. Listening is itself a profound form of service that strengthens relationships and builds empathy. Be present in your service. Distraction or divided attention diminishes the impact of your efforts. Fully engaging in the moment communicates respect, value, and sincerity. Presence enhances understanding, improves response quality, and strengthens emotional connection. Serving with undivided attention signals genuine care and amplifies the positive influence of your actions. Adapt your approach to meet individual needs. Each person, situation, or community may require a different method of support. Flexibility and responsiveness ensure that service is effective and meaningful rather than rigid or tokenistic. Tailoring efforts to specific circumstances demonstrates attentiveness, intelligence, and the ability to make a real difference. Act with humility. Service is not about asserting superiority, demonstrating competence, or elevating one's status. Humility allows authentic connection, openness to learning, and respect for the dignity of those you serve. Humble service fosters mutual respect and strengthens the moral and emotional impact of your actions, creating a positive cycle of influence and trust. Engage in service that aligns with your values and skills. Genuine contribution is most powerful when it reflects your strengths, passions, and ethical principles. Service that aligns with personal values is sustainable, energizing, and effective. Leveraging skills and resources maximizes impact while reinforcing personal fulfillment and integrity. Recognize the transformative effect on yourself. Serving others cultivates empathy, patience, emotional intelligence, and perspective. Experiences of helping, guiding, or supporting build character and expand understanding of life beyond personal needs. Engagement in service strengthens resilience, gratitude, and the ability to navigate challenges with compassion. Balance giving with self-care. Genuine service is sustainable when boundaries are respected, energy is managed, and resources are preserved. Overextending oneself diminishes effectiveness, leading to burnout and resentment. Caring for personal well-being ensures that service can continue consistently and meaningfully, enhancing both impact and personal fulfillment. Reflect on the impact of your actions. Assessing the effectiveness, reception, and influence of service improves future contributions. Reflection allows for refinement, learning, and understanding of how best to meet needs while maintaining authenticity. Evaluating efforts ensures growth, effectiveness, and the ability to provide deeper, more meaningful support over time. Encourage autonomy and empowerment. Service is most effective when it enables others to grow, develop skills, and gain confidence. Avoid creating dependency or performing actions that diminish independence. Empowering others fosters long-term improvement, self-sufficiency, and deeper relational trust. The goal of service is to enhance capacity, not to create reliance. Engage in community-oriented actions. Service extends beyond individuals to groups, organizations, and communities. Participating in collective initiatives, volunteering, or supporting causes creates broader impact, strengthens social bonds, and amplifies contribution. Community service fosters social responsibility, empathy, and a sense of shared purpose that enhances life satisfaction. Lead by example. Demonstrating service through consistent action inspires others to contribute, fostering a culture of generosity and cooperation. Modeling genuine service encourages ethical behavior, empathy, and engagement in others. Influence through example multiplies the impact of individual efforts and strengthens communal values. Practice gratitude in service, recognizing the opportunities to help and the lessons learned through contribution enhances fulfillment. Gratitude reinforces perspective, appreciation for relationships, and awareness of privilege and responsibility. It transforms service from obligation into a meaningful, joyful practice that deepens connection and contentment. Integrate service into daily life. Making helping others a regular habit ensures continuity, reinforces values, and strengthens personal fulfillment. Small acts of support, attention, or care woven into everyday routines compound into meaningful patterns of contribution and purpose. Consistent service establishes a lifestyle that prioritizes connection, empathy, and impact over personal convenience. Understand that genuine service requires patience. Transformation, support, and assistance often produce gradual results. Patience ensures continued engagement, thoughtful action, and sustained effort without frustration or discouragement. Service practiced patiently demonstrates commitment, reliability, and an understanding of the natural pace of change in others' lives. Serve with integrity. Align actions with ethical principles, honesty, and respect. Integrity ensures that contributions are authentic, reliable, and impactful. Trust built through ethical service strengthens relationships and reinforces personal character, creating fulfillment rooted in meaningful, principled action. Serving others genuinely transforms life by shifting focus from self-interest to contribution, cultivating connection, empathy, and purpose. Engagement in meaningful service strengthens character, develops emotional intelligence, and fosters perspective that enriches all aspects of life. Through deliberate, consistent, and heartfelt acts, fulfillment is experienced not as a fleeting sensation, but as a sustained state of meaning, purpose, and alignment with values. Genuine service becomes a pathway to wisdom, resilience, and a life lived fully, consistently reinforcing the principle that giving enhances both the world and the self. Chapter 20. Stay patient and persistent until success becomes your habit. Patience and persistence are the cornerstones of lasting success, and developing them transforms effort into achievement over time. Immediate results are rare, and most meaningful goals require consistent, deliberate action sustained over months and years. Without patience, frustration and doubt undermine progress. Without persistence, small setbacks derail effort and ambition. Cultivating the ability to stay steady, to continue acting with purpose despite delays, failures, or uncertainty, creates momentum that compounds into tangible results and lasting habits of achievement. The first step is adopting a long-term mindset. Understand that success rarely appears overnight, and that each small step contributes to a larger outcome. Viewing progress as a process rather than a singular event fosters patience and prevents discouragement when immediate results are not visible. A long-term perspective allows challenges and obstacles to be reframed as natural components of growth and mastery. Persistence begins with discipline. Commit to daily actions that move toward your goal, even when motivation fades or circumstances are difficult. Discipline ensures that effort continues consistently, turning intention into execution. Small, repeated actions build skill, reinforce habits, and accumulate over time into meaningful progress. Discipline bridges the gap between ambition and accomplishment. Patience requires managing expectations. Understand that growth, mastery, and success develop incrementally. Attempting to force results often leads to burnout, poor decisions, and diminished focus. By accepting the pace of progress, energy is preserved, confidence is maintained, and actions are aligned with long-term objectives rather than short-term gratification. Patience supports sustainable effort and minimizes unnecessary stress. Set clear, measurable milestones. Breaking larger goals into smaller, achievable steps provides tangible markers of progress. Each milestone reinforces persistence, offers feedback, and strengthens confidence. Small victories act as motivation to continue, while milestones create a roadmap that clarifies effort and directs action purposefully. Tracking progress ensures that persistence is strategic rather than aimless. Consistency compounds results. Daily effort, even when modest, produces far greater impact than sporadic bursts of activity. Repetition builds skill, strengthens habits, and embeds success into routine. Persistence is effective when coupled with steady, continuous application, creating a foundation where achievement becomes inevitable rather than coincidental. Learn to embrace setbacks as learning opportunities. Obstacles, failures, and delays are inevitable, but each carries valuable lessons. Persistence requires analyzing what went wrong, adjusting approach, and continuing forward. Viewing setbacks as temporary rather than permanent strengthens resilience, sharpens strategy, and ensures continued progress toward success. Every failure becomes a step in the learning process rather than a reason to quit. Develop mental resilience to sustain effort over time. Challenges, criticism, and unforeseen difficulties test focus and commitment. Strengthening emotional stability and mental fortitude allows persistence even under pressure. Patience is maintained when emotions are regulated, fear is managed, and confidence in long-term effort outweighs frustration from temporary obstacles. Stay focused on actions rather than outcomes. Persistence is fueled by deliberate effort, not by obsession with immediate results. Concentrating on consistent, quality action ensures steady progress, while excessive focus on results creates anxiety and impatience. Action-oriented persistence ensures that effort remains productive and aligned with long-term objectives. Celebrate incremental progress to reinforce patience. Acknowledging small wins sustains motivation and confidence, reminding you that progress is occurring even when ultimate goals are distant. Recognizing improvement strengthens belief in the process and reinforces the habit of consistent effort, making persistence more natural and satisfying. Develop habits that support persistence. Routine, structure, and discipline reduce reliance on fluctuating motivation. Creating systems that encourage daily progress allows action to become automatic, ensuring that effort continues even when external circumstances are challenging. Habitual persistence converts intention into sustained practice without requiring constant mental effort. Visualize long-term results to maintain patience. Picture the outcome you aim to achieve and connect it to your daily effort. Visualization reinforces purpose, strengthens motivation, and makes the process more meaningful. Imagining success helps to endure difficulties and maintain persistence, providing clarity about why continued effort is worthwhile. Maintain adaptability while staying persistent. Conditions, challenges, and opportunities change over time. Persistence does not mean rigidly repeating the same approach, but rather consistently moving toward the goal while adjusting strategies as needed. Flexibility ensures that effort is efficient, effective, and responsive to real-world dynamics, reinforcing long-term success. Accountability strengthens persistence. Sharing goals with mentors, peers, or partners creates external reinforcement that complements internal commitment. Accountability increases focus, reduces avoidance, and encourages consistent follow-through, especially when challenges or distractions arise. External support magnifies the impact of deliberate effort. Patience and persistence develop character. The process of working steadily toward a goal, enduring difficulty, and adapting to setbacks strengthens discipline, resilience, and self-confidence. Each day of persistent effort reinforces personal integrity and determination, creating traits that endure beyond individual objectives and permeate every area of life. Balance effort with rest to sustain long-term persistence. Overexertion leads to burnout, which undermines consistency and effectiveness. Strategic rest, reflection, and recovery allow energy to be replenished, skills to consolidate, and focus to be maintained. Persistence is most sustainable when effort is deliberate and balanced, not frantic or exhausting. Anchor persistence in purpose. Connecting daily action to meaningful goals ensures that effort is motivated by more than habit alone. Purpose provides clarity, strengthens commitment, and fuels patience during delays or obstacles. When action is aligned with deeply held values, persistence becomes a natural expression of intention rather than a forced routine. Use self-reflection to reinforce progress. Assessing what strategies are effective, which habits support achievement, and how effort is translating into results enhances persistence. Reflection clarifies direction, identifies inefficiencies, and strengthens the ability to remain patient during extended efforts. Insight from reflection ensures that persistence is intelligent, adaptive, and impactful. Understand that success is a process, not a moment. Each day of consistent action compounds into skill, achievement, and accomplishment. Viewing success as habitual effort rather than a single outcome transforms persistence into lifestyle, patience into strategy, and consistency into identity. Over time, the combination of patience and persistence produces results that are reliable, sustainable, and profound. Commit to lifelong perseverance. True mastery, meaningful achievement, and sustained success are rarely temporary. Patience and persistence are skills cultivated continuously and applied in all areas of life. Each act of steadfast effort builds competence, confidence, and momentum, ensuring that success becomes not only attainable but habitual, embedded into the way you live and act daily. By practicing patience, sustaining persistent effort, learning from setbacks, and maintaining focus on meaningful action, success becomes an inevitable habit rather than a fleeting accomplishment. Daily commitment, deliberate strategy, and emotional resilience transform effort into progress, challenges into growth, and ambition into consistent achievement. Life is shaped by those who endure, adapt, and persist until the habits of success are fully realized and internalized.